Joe Bell. I am your presenter and commentator for the duration of tonight's rearranged fixture. Of course, this was a fixture due to be scheduled earlier in the season, but due to a waterlogged track and persistent rain that evening, we had to cancel it, and we are back to do it all again tonight on a beautiful August evening. Now, before we get underway, we do have to make a little announcement to you. Unfortunately, we are under strength here on and off the track down at Plymouth Speedway tonight. It is just myself on commentary tonight, and we do have a very limited camera team, so we are going to do absolutely everything we can to bring you the very best coverage of what is promising to be a very exciting fixture down here in Devon tonight. So do bear with us if there are one or two little gremlins, but if there are, we will fix them as best we can, and we will try and bring the best action. So here are your team lineups for tonight then, and the patched up Gladiators are led at number 1 by Zaine KENNEDY. Number 2 is rider replacement for Joe Thompson. At 3 is Tobias THOMSEN, who is guesting. At 4, Declan KENNEDY is also a guest from the Scunthorpe Scorpions, and at 5 for the Gladiators is Scott Nicholls. Down at number 6 is Alfie BOWTELL, and Kai Ward is the 4th guest for the Gladiators tonight. He is at 7. The team manager is Garry May. For the Redcar Bears, they are led by their captain at number 1, Charles Wright, with Jody SCOTT at 2. In the engine room of the team at 3 is Jason Edwards, and at 4, guesting, is Louis Kerr. At 5 is Danny King, and down at reserve for the Bears is at 6 Jake Mulford, and at 7 is ace Pijper. Gavin PARR is their team manager. So a very warm welcome to a very warm Plymouth Coliseum. There is a huge crowd beginning to assemble down here at the track. They are still coming through the turnstiles. It is set to be another big crowd, another big atmosphere down here in Plymouth. Of course, what a difference a week makes in Speedway. This time last week, preparing for that titanic tussle against the Pool Pirates, everything went against the Gladiators on the night with some big crashes, big incidents. A patched up Gladiators, of course, Ben Barker riding on the night with a dislocated shoulder just 72 hours prior, dropped just 3 points in that incredible victory here. Rounded off with a 5-1 in Heat 15, and that was the only time the Gladiators led on the night. When the music stopped, they very much had a seat to sit on, and they got the victory over the Pirates. They headed north last evening, as we see the youngsters of the future flying round the track. Axel BOWTELL is out there, Alfie's son. He's out there as part of that quartet somewhere. But last night, the Gladiators headed to the northeast to take on the Redcar Bears, buoyed with the return of Nikolai Clint at number 1, and everything was set fair for this to be a mouth-watering clash as both teams go in search of the playoffs. And it all went awry in heat number 3, both Joe Thompson and Ben Barker hitting the deck, and unfortunately both riders are out injured tonight. Joe Thompson is very much second hand. He was withdrawn by the medics. Hopefully we will still see Joe Thompson again this season. Unfortunately for Ben Barker, who those heroics last week with that dislocated shoulder, unfortunately Ben has sustained more serious injuries. Ben is missing tonight with concussion and a broken hand, and unfortunately it looks like Ben's season may well be over. Although if those of you who know Ben Barker watching along at home will know he will try everything to get back on the bike, but obviously he cannot be here tonight, nor will he be here next week due to the concussion protocol, and we send our best wishes to both Ben Barker and Joe Thompson. Tom Spencer, who is usually at number 7 for the Gladiators, he is also missing. He missed last night and will miss tonight. Of course, he had that rather spectacular crash late in the meeting against Poole last week where he was thrown over the fence. He has not recovered in sufficient time and is also feeling worse for wear. Hopefully we will see Tom again for the rest of the season. So going through the guests then, Zaine KENNEDY is in for Nikolai Clint, who is away this evening. Joe Thompson is rider replacement at number 2. That's an important move because Scott Nicholls, of course, can collect a ride with that rider replacement facility. Tobias Thompson is in for Ben Barker. Declan KENNEDY is in for Lasse Fredriksson. And then Scott Nicholls and Alfie BOWTELL are the 2 remaining Gladiators still fit. And when Scott Nicholls signed for the Gladiators a few weeks ago, who'd have thought that we would reach that stage? And of course the Gladiators gave it as good as they had last night after losing 2 riders so early in the meeting. They took it all the way down to the 10th heat And at Heat 10, the score was 34-26, and you were thinking, well, if Clint and Nicholls could get some heat advantages for the Gladiators, it might well set it up for something quite special last night. But the meeting rather got away from them from that moment onwards. A back-to-back 5-1s for the Bears in Heats 13 and 14 really did stick the knife in, if you like, to the Gladiators. The gap tonight then at the end of the result, 54-36, so the Gladiators have it all to do, an 18-point deficit if they are to chase down that aggregate bonus point. Both teams are in desperate need of trying to chase down the playoffs. The Redcar Bears in a much stronger position and will all but seal a place in the playoffs. You would think if they can win tonight and Oxford get beat up at Glasgow, it would put Redcar very firmly in the box seat for that 4th spot in the playoffs. There's Alfie BOWTELL, a very happy father, after his son Axel does a few laps of the Coliseum. Great to see the Plymouth promotion doing everything they can for the stars of the future, showing absolutely no fear out there, the youngsters. And I do take my hat off to them. For the Redcar Bears, Louis Kerr is in as a guest for Eric Riss at number 4. Louis Kerr, who's been out of luck on his 3 visits to the Coliseum this year when he's ridden for the Poole Pirates, will be hoping that his luck can change on his 4th visit to the track this season. But at number 1 in Charles Wright, they've got one of the very best riders in the league, ably supported by Danny King at number 5, who rides this track so well. And of course Jason Edwards, the former Gladiator, at number 3 as well. The Redcar Bears really do look a solid outfit, 1-7, so it will be a big test for the Gladiators this evening as the youngsters line up for another go around the track. They're brought into the start line. Our referee Chris Gay will release the tapes when everybody is set. Not sure they'll be breaking Richard Lawson's new track record in this outing, but you never know. As the crowds begin to take their positions here at the Coliseum, the Bar Bandits are out in full force tonight. The Colin Hill stand is well populated on the back straight, as is the NHS stand down here to the left of the commentary position. Barry Bishop gives his acknowledgement to the referee, and they're waiting for the tapes to go up. And there they go, and off and away they go. Youngest first. And what a great sight it is to see the stars of the future flying around the Coliseum this evening. Track looks in very good shape. It's been a very dry, warm week down here in Plymouth tonight. Mark Phillips and his team, who did such a sterling job on the track last week, not only getting the track in a good shape, but also, of course, repairing the fence after the big incidents last week. Take our hats off to each and every one of them who are a part of that. Track looks in really good nick this week. As I say, it's been very warm down here in the southwest. It's been very warm everywhere in the UK, it seems, this week. Plenty of water has gone down on it pre-meeting, and I'm sure plenty will go down throughout the course of the night. Alfie BOWTELL grinning away on the start line as he watches his son go around the Coliseum. So we do still have a very interesting fixture ahead tonight. Of course, Zaine Kennedy has guested for the Gladiators on a number of occasions this year and has done a sterling job when called upon, as has Tobias THOMSEN, who will be at 3. Both of those will be hoping to essentially finish off their meetings here in Plymouth this year in good style, as best they can for the club that have asked them to deputise tonight. And they do have it all to do if the Gladiators are to hunt down that aggregate bonus point. But it's a gorgeous night, it's a big crowd, it will be a feverish atmosphere inside the Coliseum. Let's enjoy the speedway that we've got left this summer. The Gladiators at home tonight, they're back home again next week against the Berwick Bandits. They've got a race against Berwick home and away yet. They will go to Berwick in September for their final league fixture of the 2025 campaign. And it has been a campaign where Garry May must be wondering what he's done wrong to the Speedway gods. Almost everything has gone against him this year. Last week it was such a feel-good factor down here at the Coliseum. Those of you who will have, I'm sure by now, seen those videos of that 5-1 in Heat 15 with Ben Barker and Scott Nicholls. Ben Barker miraculously taking 7 rides on the night and only dropping 3 points with a dislocated shoulder. Quite incredible. Last night it was Nikolai Clint who led the resistance for the Gladiators with 11 paid 12. Alfie BOWTELL taking 7 rides. Of course, Alfie's second hand himself at the moment after a number of incidents a few weeks ago here at the Coliseum and a couple of crashes whilst on grass track duty. Alfie really stepping up when his team have needed it most as the young Pee-wee racers go and get a warm round of applause from the Coliseum crowd. Quite a few Redcar fans in on the Colin Hill stand, which is great to see. There was a minibus who made the long trip down for the original fixture a fair few weeks ago, and it's great to see a few of them have continued on down tonight. There are the Bar Bandits. They look a lot more populated than normal this evening, which is always great to see. They are absolutely going to make their presence felt tonight. They've only got a couple more meetings to get every last bit of energy out of their voice boxes as they can before the long winter sets in, even though they will see each other plenty in the winter with their monthly meetups as we take our way around Bend 2. And you're going to see the Colin Hill stand is populated with Redcar Bears supporters, which is absolutely brilliant to see. We had a number of pool supporters here last week, giving a good cheer and a round of applause to the Pee-wee riders. And now they go over to the Bar Bandits, who will make a good amount of noise themselves. Absolutely brilliant to see what Barry Bishop is trying to do to cultivate this strong family atmosphere here in Plymouth this year. The promotion have done a wonderful job all year round on A, getting the crowds in, but B, making sure the crowds are then entertained. And we will soon be getting some bikes out onto the track, but the Pee-wee riders take their round of applause from the NHS stand. Maximus is with them as well. They will now vacate the track. The track staff are in position. Track announcer going to try and build the atmosphere as best he can. Going to channel his inner Michael Buffer once again. Bar Bandits give a good cheer as well to the Colin Hill stand. And over on Bends 3 and 4, it's great to see there's a good number of people over in that far corner as well, under the trees. I doubt they'll be as sheltered as the wind as some will be tonight. I certainly aren't here on the commentary podium. But we are about to get bikes out onto the racetrack. Clerk of the course, Rob Duran, is ready to give them the thumbs up. He checks his watch, and the thumbs up is given. And for the first time this evening, we see the Redcar Bears led at number 1 by Charles Wright. Charles, who goes round well around any track around the country, be looking for a big night tonight, as will Louis Kerr and Jason Edwards. Jason always rides with a smile on his face. Danny King, who deputised for the Gladiators many times a few years ago when they were in need of a number 1. Another one who rides this track particularly well. As we see the mechanics also make their way out onto the track. Lee Trigger in attendance tonight again. He was in charge of Richard Lawson's machinery last week, so he was very happy with himself to get another track record to his name on the spanners. And here come the patched up the Gladiators, led by Zaine KENNEDY, Tobias THOMSEN, Declan KENNEDY, Scott Nicholls out there as well. And we await Alfie BOWTELL and Kai Ward. And the first thing we should do is thank every single one of these guest riders for Plymouth tonight for turning up and at such short notice as well, and helping out the Gladiators, harnessing that Gladiator spirit. And the club are going to need every single bit of Gladiator spirit tonight if the Gladiators are to pull off one of the most famous victories they will have pulled off in recent years. As the track announcer announces the riders to the crowd. Good to see some top quality riders, as always, on show here at the Coliseum tonight. And this fixture really was set up to be a cracker over the course of the 2 days, with the Gladiators, with Ben Barker and Joe Thompson picking themselves up off the track last week to go again this week. And they would have given absolutely everything at Redcar last night. Big cheer for Scott Nicholls. along with the guest riders as well, which is fantastic to see. Tobias THOMSEN, who, as I say, has been here on a number of occasions this year, as has Zaine. They've always given their best. And the coin goes up in the air. Charles Wright and Alfie BOWTELL down there as Garry May gets a good serenade from the Bar Bandits. They're right behind him tonight. You have to feel for Garry and Mark, particularly this last week. Just when it looked like the tide was turning and the wind was behind the Gladiators, it all went wrong. And Redcar have chosen gates 1 and 3 in heat number 1. So if you do have a programme at home, we will be out of column B. I will hope to have a bit more light than I had towards the end of last week, and I'll be able to complete my programme this week. Although obviously with rider replacements and reserve switches, we can expect Garry May bingo will be quite difficult to predict this evening. As the riders set off for their practice starts, we can see Alfie BOWTELL at the entrance to the home straight, Kai Ward as well. Just been joined by Charles Wright down there. Kai Ward, who was up in Redcar last night, achieved a point from his 7 rides. It's always very difficult to come in guesting for a team, particularly when the stakes are so high, but also when everything goes wrong for the team you're guesting for. It can't be easy at all, and that's the task that's also set to the Kennedy brothers as well tonight, and Tobias THOMSEN. And we won't be too far away from heat number 1. And a club that is constantly against the world can put on another great show in front of a huge crowd. And let's keep our fingers crossed that, like last week, Speedway is the winner by the end of the evening. The last few riders leaving the track now. Scott Nicholls making his way round. Already having a look at his gate number 4 position that he will be taking in heat number 4. Garry May in light-hearted conversation with one of Louis Kerr's mechanics. And we are just about to get this show on the road. Stick with us, folks. Let's hope that, as I say, Speedway is the winner. We've had some cracking racing here at the Coliseum in recent weeks, and whilst this isn't the usual Gladiators side that we are so used to seeing fly around the track, let's keep everything crossed that they can serve up a treat. Chris Gay, as mentioned, is our referee here this evening. He's had a good walk of the track tonight to inspect the air fence and inspect to the surroundings. So we welcome him to proceedings. We hope, I said this last week and unfortunately it didn't last very long, we hope he has a quiet evening tonight. We had enough drama and spills last week. Let's hope that everybody stays safe. Nobody wants to see any rider get injured. And now the gate needs closing before our next lot of youngsters can have some lap time. And away they go. This is your warm-up for heat number 1. And I'll just give you, we will find out the lineup for heat number 1. Of course, we do have a rider replacement out straight away here in heat number 1, so we will try and get that to you as quickly as we can. I'm going to try and play my first round of Garry May bingo here, and I'm going to guess it will be Tobias THOMSEN who might come out here in heat number 1. But we shall see. We shall see as we continue to see some youngsters making their way around the track, getting some important track time in their development as Speedway riders. Ezra and Jaden, it looks like to me, flying round. Barry Bishop giving some instructions to the youngster at the back. And it's almost like the calm before the storm here at the moment. The wind has dropped, which is pleasant. It is a lovely evening. There's absolutely no danger of any rain affecting tonight's proceedings. And let's hope, let's keep our fingers crossed that we can get a Gladiators victory on the board tonight. It's been a good run of form at home for the Gladiators. Beating Poole, beating Oxford, beating Workington. The turning point was very much that away trip to Scunthorpe a few weeks ago. Scott Nicholls joined, went on the Northern Tour with them, went up to Edinburgh where they had a good fixture, the second half of that meeting in particular, and since then the Gladiators really have turned a corner. Strong performances away at Poole and away at Oxford, and of course this winning run at home. Let's hope that can continue once again here tonight. Bullseye on Garry May. Rider replacement bingo. Tobias Thompson will be out in blue, and when they get to the tapes we will give you a full roundup of who is out, but the 2-minute time allowance is on for heat number 1, and this is it. It's time for all the talking to stop that has surrounded the last 24 hours, all that has gone before it, and it is now time to focus on 15 heats of Championship Speedway, the penultimate championship meeting here this season. And they make their way round to the tapes. The Gladiators have an 18-point deficit to overturn. It's a very tough ask, but if there's any team that will not give up, it is the Plymouth Gladiators. They didn't give up last night, and you can bet your bottom dollar they're not going to give up in front of their home crowd. Your lineup for heat number 1 and off the inside in yellow is Jody SCOTT. Gate number 2 in blue, taking the rider replacement ride, Tobias Thompson. Gate number 3 in white is Charles Wright. And off the outside, deputising in place of Nikolai Clint, is Zaine KENNEDY. So, Charles Wright is the overwhelming favourite to take heat number 1 here. Coming off gate number 3, which was so fruitful last week against Poole. Zaine KENNEDY, you feel, has it all to do off the outside gate number 4, which in recent weeks has not yielded a huge amount of success. Having said that, that is where Ben Barker flew from last week in heat 15. So let's hope it's back-to-back races for the Gladiators off gate number 4 as they sort themselves out at the tapes. The start marshal ushering the riders forward, and we are about to get the show on the road. The overture sounds on the sound system, the green lights are on, the tapes rise, and away they go. Tobias Thompson has made a good one off gate number 2, and Tobias Thompson gets across Charles Wright, who squeezed out into 3rd place, and Tobias Thompson it is for the Gladiators, who shows the way. Jody SCOTT in 2nd place in yellow is trying to keep him honest. Charles Wright is back in 3rd. Zaine KENNEDY is going to try all he's got to put him under pressure, but this is a perfect start for Tobias Thompson at 2. He got across Charles Wright off the start line, and he's showing them the way home here. Jody SCOTT, though, is keeping him very honest in 2nd place. There's a little bit of a gap of about 5 to 6 bike lengths, then back to Charles Wright in 3rd, with Zaine KENNEDY at the back. So with 1 lap to go, Tobias Thompson shows the way from Jody SCOTT in 2nd place. Charles Wright has slotting into 3rd, and this is a bit of an upset in heat number 1 here. It's only going to be a 3-all, but it's going to be a win in blue for Tobias Thompson, and that gets a good cheer from the Gladiators fans. So Charles Wright, who was very much the favourite to take heat number 1, is beaten, and he's beaten by guest star Tobias Thompson in place of Ben Barker, doing the job that Ben would have absolutely loved to have done here tonight. 51.85 from Tobias Thompson. That's brisk for heat number 1. So let's take your full result from heat number 1. A win in blue for Tobias Thompson, 2nd in yellow for Jody SCOTT, 3rd in white is Charles Wright, and 4th in red is Zaine KENNEDY. So 3-3 on the night, 39.57 on your progressive total. Gladiators making no inroads there in the Redcar Bears inroads. A gentleman on the NHS stand just being asked to sit down, maybe interfering with the referee's line of view. 2-minute time allowance is on then for heat number 1, heat number 2 even. And we get to see the reserves for the first time this evening. And Alfie BOWTELL, the Gladiators captain for the evening, will be out here alongside young Kai Ward. Kai, who heralds from Cambridgeshire. He's deputised for the Gladiators a couple of times now this season when they've needed it at number 7. Kai is at the tapes and Alfie will now make his way round. And we will take your lineup for heat number 2. And off the inside in red is Alfie BOWTELL. Gate number 2 in white is Jake Mulford. Gate number 3 in blue is Kai Ward. And off the outside gate in yellow is Ace Pijper. So, good young lineup here. Alfie BOWTELL off the inside. By far the most experienced rider in the lineup. But that counts for nothing. And it's all about who can get to the start, who can get to turn 1, as Tobias THOMSEN did in heat number 1. Managed to get himself across Charles Wright, who was then squeezed out. That allowed Jody SCOTT through on the inside. And the dream start for Tobias, guessing, of course, he'll be out again in the next heat, so he'll be looking to go back to back. But for now, we've got the reserve race, heat number 2. And Alfie BOWTELL, as is his wont, will be the last one into line off gate number 1. Start marshal checks the starting positions. He's happy. He will move out of the way. The green lights are on. Tapes rise and away we go. And Alfie's made an absolute flyer off gate number 1. And he gets across the red car riders. Kai Ward throws it up the inside of Ace Pijper. Ace is down. As they come back round towards us here, Ace Pijper is on his feet and keeps the bike going. So the race will continue, and Alfie BOWTELL shows the way. From in second place, Jake Mulford. Third is Kai Ward. Ace Pijper is a long way detached at the back of the field. Alfie BOWTELL is now under pressure from Jake Mulford, but as they take the start of lap number 3, Alfie shows the way by about 3 bike lengths from Jake Mulford. It's a good gap then to Kai Ward, who will complete in his own time, as will Ace Pijper, who gets a bit of track time. 1 lap to go and Alfie shows the way. This will be an important heat advantage for the Gladiators, providing Kai Ward can keep it going in a straight line. Alfie takes it tentative into ends 3 and 4 and will take the checkered flag, and the Gladiators nose in front in heat number 2 on the night. And a big cheer from the Coliseum crowd. Kai Ward taking that 3rd place. Ace Pijper, to his credit, picked himself up off the track. He completed, getting a bit of track time. It all got very tight there on bend number 2, but it's a win in red for Alfie BOWTELL. 53.89 is his winning time. Let's take the classified result, and it's a win in red for Alfie BOWTELL. 2nd in white for Jake Mulford. 3rd in blue for Kai Ward. And 4th was Ace Pijper. So it's a 4-2 on the night. 7-5 to the Gladiators. And let's take that replay, and you'll see Alfie gets an absolute flyer off gate number 1. And at this point, Kai Ward is at the back, but he tries to get the wheels in line and get up the inside. And it all got very tight between Ace Pijper and Kai Ward. I'm not convinced there was any contact at all. You can see Kai Ward just losing the shape off bends 3 and 4. But Ace kept it going, and Alfie stretched his legs out in front. Jake Mulford kept him honest for 2 laps or so. But until the track settles down, Alfie showed him the way home. So the Gladiators, importantly, get their nose in front in this pursuit of an important 2 points. Maybe not in terms of the playoff race anymore, but certainly in the battle to avoid the wooden spoon at the bottom, which Gladiators would not be favourites for at this point. They're really having a strong end to the campaign, and that's what they will want to take into the winter. And let's hope it can continue here in heat number 3. Your full lineup for heat number 3. Off the inside in white is Jason Edwards. In blue is Declan Kennedy. In gate number 3 in yellow is Louis Kerr. And off the outside in red, maximum man so far, Tobias THOMSEN. Louis Kerr, who has absolutely been out of luck when he's been here with the Poole Pirates this season. Had all sorts of issues, whether it be mechanical or just unlucky with refereeing decisions. He was unlucky with 1 or 2 last week here. Both myself and Nigel Walrond, who joined me on commentary, thought he was unlucky, certainly in at least one of the rides. I thought he was unlucky in both rides. where he was excluded. But the riders are being called forward. Declan Kennedy already in position. Tobias Thompson last into line along with Jason Edwards towards the inside, who's got a load of room to his outside. The green light is on, the tapes rise, and away we go. Jason and Louis have made absolute diamond starts for the Redcar Bears, and they show them the way, but Tobias Thompson keeps it wound on around the outside, and he flies around the outside of Jason Edwards, and we're now set after Louis Kerr, who is showing them the way home out front. So Louis Kerr shows the way from Tobias Thompson. Jason Edwards is now coming under pressure from Declan Kennedy, who gets the wheels in line, tries to give himself a slingshot off bend 2, but it's not to be, and Louis Kerr stretching his way out in front here. From Tobias Thompson in second, third place for Jason Edwards, and fourth is Declan Kennedy, who is trying to keep him honest. They're a little bit tentative going into bends 3 and 4, but as they take the last lap flag, and out in front Louis Kerr from Tobias Thompson, Declan Kennedy trying to hunt down Jason Edwards, but he's running out of real estate. And as they come round to take the checkered flag, it's a win in yellow for Louis Kerr. Second in red, Tobias Thompson. Third in white is Jason Edwards, and fourth in blue is Declan Kennedy. So we are back to a status quo on the night. The Redcar Bears hit straight back with a 4-2 heat advantage of their own, and that is much more the Louis Kerr that we have come to use here at the Coliseum. 53.05, so again not quick, which really does highlight how quick Tobias Thompson was in heat number 1. So here is your full result: a win in yellow for Louis Kerr, second in red Tobias Thompson, third in white Jason Edwards, and a fourth place at the back for Declan Kennedy, who kept Jason Edwards honest around the Coliseum, which is all we can ask of the guests tonight, to do all they can for the cause. It's very difficult when you're stepping in when the stakes are so high, but Jason Edwards looked like he'd made a dream start. Louis Kerr certainly had, but Tobias Thompson kept it on around the outside. Plenty of room down that back straight and into bends 3 and 4, and that kept him ahead. This is where Declan Kennedy tries for a big sweeping move around the outside, but it wasn't to be. He got his wheels in line and got a slingshot there, but just a little bit tentative into bends 3 and 4. Just allows Jason Edwards to keep the gap between him. And we do have a reserve switch here in heat number 4. Garry May switching the reserves. Alfie BOWTELL will be out here in blue in place of Kai Ward. So Scott Nicholls will come off gate number 4, Alfie BOWTELL off gate number 2, as the riders make their way around to the tapes. A lot hanging on the shoulders of Scott Nicholls tonight, you feel, for the Gladiators. A late season switch to the team, and has really lifted the place since he's come in, been a big help to all the riders in the pits area, and a big lift to the crowd as well to have somebody like Scott Nicholls in the Gladiators Kevlars. But let's take your official lineup for heat number 4, and off the inside in yellow is Ace Pijper. Gate number 2 in blue is Alfie BOWTELL. Gate number 3 in white is Danny King, and off the outside in red, Scott Nicholls. So a good battle here between Nicholls and King. Alfie BOWTELL will look to finish off where he left, continue on where he finished off, of course, in heat number 2 with another win here, if he can. But you'd think his task here will be to try and bring home a maximum for the Gladiators and follow home Scott Nicholls if they can. Scott, another one who gave absolutely everything here last week against Poole. Who knows what might have happened in terms of the aggregate bonus point if his didn't shifter machine issues when Ben Barker took the tactical sub. But here we go for heat number 4. The start marshal moves out of the way. The green lights are on. The tapes rise and away we go. Alfie BOWTELL has made it, and he's going to be followed around by Scott Nicholls. Alfie just lifts there coming off bend 1, and he closes the door on Danny King. But Scott Nicholls and Alfie BOWTELL are showing the way, but Danny King goes high and wide and goes round the outside of Alfie BOWTELL. A brilliant move by Danny King, but Scott Nicholls is stretching his legs out in front. He shows the way by about 3 bike lengths from Danny King, who's now opened up a gap on Alfie BOWTELL, who is clear of Ace Pijper, but they've gone half race distance, and Scott Nicholls is yet to see another rider. Danny King will try and put him under pressure with a lap and a half to go. Alfie BOWTELL is now comfortably back in third, but Scott Nicholls lifts. That allows Danny King a bit of drive. to try and get after him. Nicholls shuts the door on the inside, gets a kick off bend 2, which allows him to open up a bit more of a gap on Danny King. And as he comes around to take the checker flag, it's a win in red for Scott Nicholls. Second in white for Danny King. Third in blue was Alfie BOWTELL. Ace Pijper completes in his own time. But that gets a huge cheer from the Gladiators fans and a good warm round of applause for Danny King as well. Brilliant move by Danny to get one back on Alfie off bends 3 and 4. Scott Nicholls it is who takes heat number 4. 53.88, so they aren't getting anywhere near Tobias Thompson's time from heat number 1. Win in red for Scott Nicholls, second in white Danny King, third in blue Alfie BOWTELL, fourth in yellow was Ace Pijper. 13-11 on the night, 49.65 on aggregate. The Gladiators trying to erode away at that deficit, but it's not to be at the moment. We're going to have a bit of a track grade. And let's take the replay here. You're going to see two really good starts by the Gladiators. Scott Nicholls off the outside, Alfie BOWTELL off blue. You can see Alfie just hits something on the track there, which allows him to lift. This is where Danny King flies around the outside. Alfie just a little bit awkward going into bend 3. And that is all she wrote. Danny King tried his best to keep Alfie under pressure. But Scott Nicholls out in front, looking smooth, looking stylish. And that is what the Gladiators need him to do across the course of tonight's fixture, as we see Mark Phillips going round on the tractor. Now we can move some of the material around and continue what has been a good start to this clash tonight. The Gladiators are giving it absolutely everything they've got with this patched up side. There are the gate stats. And how even is that? 1 win apiece. 6 points for gate 1, 6 points for gate 2, 7 points for gate 3 and 5 points for gate number 4. So we have an even start line after the first 4 heats here at the Coliseum tonight, which will make the decision in heat 15 a little bit more tricky for Alfie BOWTELL and Garry May should it get to a nervy stage towards the end of the meeting. Let's take a look at the early rider scores. Zaine KENNEDY is yet to get on the score sheet. Tobias Thompson with 5 from 2. Declan KENNEDY also with a duck egg so far. Scott Nicholls with a win. Alfie BOWTELL with a win and a third place for 4 points. Kai Ward with 1. And for the Redcar Bears, they have only won 1 heat so far. Louis Kerr taking that one, but they have managed to fill the minor placings so far. Ace Pijper at the bottom with 0 from 2 rides. But it is an even contest, as we hoped these two would be over the course of the weekend. But of course, those injuries to the Gladiators just making it a little bit tricky to get that aggregate point, but they're not going to stop trying here tonight. And it is 49.65 on the aggregate score so far. So the Gladiators have got it down to 16, but they have a lot of work still to do if they are to continue eroding away at that Redcar deficit. And what a story that would be if the Gladiators could somehow overturn that aggregate deficit. That would literally shake this stadium to its core if the Gladiators were to pull that off. Mark Phillips continues on his way on his tractor. I am covered in shale here on the commentary podium, as we're going to have a routine from the cheerleaders on the infield as well. The wind is picking up. It is a little bit chilly now in that wind. I must confess, I've only bought the 1 jacket tonight. Maybe that was a small mistake. I normally bring a jumper as well, but it's not to be tonight. So let's take a look at the other fixture that's going on tonight. It's a rare Saturday night fixture for the Glasgow Tigers. Not used to racing on Saturday nights, but they are at home to the Oxford Cheetahs tonight, and Glasgow are already stretching their legs in that one. They are up 16 points to 8 already after the first 4 heats. A brace of 5-1s for the Tigers in 1 and 3, and 3 all shared heats in heats 2 and 4. Trying to keep the Cheetahs in it, but they have it all to do there away at Glasgow. Wins so far for Villa Nagel, Dan Thompson and Kyle Howarth on the night. So it's 13:11. The 2-minute time allowance is on here for heat number 5. Tobias Thompson and Declan Kennedy will have the task of trying to stop what is likely to be a fired up Charles Wright after not making the gate in heat number 1. But as they make their way around to the tapes, Charles Wright will be coming off the outside in gate number 4. So the Gladiators with 1 and 3 here in 5. But as we've seen, there is no real bias to date, a win apiece coming from all 4 gates. Let's take your line up then for heat 5. Off the inside in red is Tobias Thompson. Gate number 2 in yellow is Jody SCOTT, who kept Tobias honest in heat number 1. Gate number 3 in blue is Declan Kennedy, and off the outside in white is Charles Wright. So what can the 2 Gladiator boys do here? Can Tobias Thompson keep Charles Wright and Jody SCOTT at bay for the 2nd time on the night? That certainly would draw a big cheer from this healthy crowd once again. The start marshal gives them the once over. The green light comes on from referee Chris Gay. The tapes rise and away we go, as does Tobias Thompson's bike, and he's got across Charles Wright once again, and Charles Wright now tries to straighten the bike up and come up the inside, but it's not to be, and Tobias Thompson is stretching his legs once again, and in the meantime Declan Kennedy has got up the inside of Jody SCOTT. So this is yet another vital heat advantage so far for the Gladiators in terms of the fixture on the night. But Tobias Thompson is showing the way and has got a considerable gap now on Charles Wright. And Tobias Thompson is absolutely flying around the Coliseum at the moment. He's clear of Charles Wright. Declan Kennedy has slotted into 3rd. Jody SCOTT has it all to do with a lap to go. But look at this from Tobias Thompson. There is speed in that bike, and he is aggressively attacking the circuit. And he's almost half a lap clear here. Tobias Thompson almost a straight clear as he takes the checkered flag, and that is tight on the line between Declan Kennedy and Jody SCOTT. Charles Wright slowing up towards the line. Over to you, Chris Gay. In terms of who got 3rd place, Tobias Thompson's out and gone. He's barely in camera shot at this point. He takes the checkered flag now. Charles Wright has a look, slows it down on the run to the line. It's tight, but it looks like Jody SCOTT has got up to share the heat in 3rd. Well, absolutely no doubt about the winner. Tobias Thompson taking another race win, but I suspect we're going to hear that Jody SCOTT has got 3rd.
Your win in red was Tobias Thompson. Tobias's winning time was 52.
There is a silence around the Coliseum. Oh, Declan Kennedy has got it in 3rd. The result was confirmed by the transponders we hear. So the full result of heat number 5, a win in red is Tobias Thompson, 2nd in yellow Charles Wright, a 3rd in blue for Declan Kennedy, and a 4th in yellow for Jody SCOTT. So contrary to what perhaps I saw with my not perfect eyes, it has to be said, but Tobias Thompson gets the win, and I'm delighted to have been joined on the commentary podium here by Centurion's team manager, Centurion's team manager and general handyman around the track these days, Barry Bishop. Barry, good evening.
Good evening, how are you doing?
I'm very good. Oh, this is exciting already.
It is, it's great, love it.
Gladiators getting their noses in front. We've got everything crossed, haven't we, that tonight is less drama filled than last week, because we had everything and more last week, and not always for the right reasons.
Yeah, and certainly from an air fence perspective and changing them, we don't want to be doing that again, I can tell you.
No,
yeah, but last week was full of excitement and drama, and tonight looks to be exactly the same, so let's see what we got.
Absolutely. So as they make their way round to the start, we have the lineup for heat number 6, and off the inside in white is Danny King. Gate number 2 in red is the Gladiators number 1 for the night, Zaine KENNEDY. Off gate number 3 in yellow is Jake Mulford, and off the outside is the Gladiators skipper for the evening, Alfie BOWTELL. So Alfie and Zaine. Alfie taking the rider replacement ride here, and we'll be hoping to get another win on the board for the Gladiators tonight to stretch that lead on the night. Of course, 2 points are on offer. Redcar still very, very, very firm favourites for that bonus point. but for the Gladiators, 2 priceless points in the pursuit of not finishing bottom.
Yeah, well, let's never say never. I mean, it was the last 5 heats at Redcar that undone us, really. So
absolutely,
we've got time to hopefully bang in some points and see if we can get that bonus.
And there weren't many people who thought last week, with a 6-point deficit with a few races to go, that the Gladiators would overturn the Pirates.
That's right, yeah.
For a 3rd time in a row. So the start marshal calls them into line. Alfie BOWTELL, as is often the way, is the last one into line. The green lights come on. The tapes rise and away we go. Danny King has made it, and he's going to be followed through by Jake Mulford into 2nd place. Zaine Kennedy's going to try and jam him towards the outside, but he can't do so. Jake Mulford flies around, but Danny King attacks bends 3 and 4 and shows the way. Now Zaine Kennedy will have to have the bit between his teeth to chase down Jake Mulford here in 2nd place and to try and split the Bears pairing. But out in front, Danny King looking very smooth and stylish. He gave it everything to chase down Scott Nicholls earlier, but he's got 3 air to fly into here. Jake Mulford is riding a confident race in 2nd place with Zaine Kennedy in 3rd. Alfie BOWTELL a little bit of drift at the back, but with a lap to go, Danny King it is who shows the way, and that 3 air is giving Danny perfect vision of the Coliseum, and he has never looked back from making the gate as soon as the tapes went up, and the Redcar Bears will even it up on the night with a maximum. Danny King it is who flies round. Jake Mulford in 2nd, Zaine Kennedy in 3rd, Alfie BOWTELL at back. That was the Danny King we've come to know in British Speedway, but a confident ride by Jake Mulford in 2nd.
Yeah, Jake was going really well there. He looked really confident and on the speed, as they say. So let's hope he doesn't stay that way for the rest of the night, because he was flying.
53.56 the winning time for Danny King. So they're still getting nowhere near Tobias' time in heat number 1, but it's a win in white for Danny King, 2nd in yellow for Jake Mulford, a 3rd in red for Zaine Kennedy, and a 4th place, a rare 4th place around the Coliseum for Alfie BOWTELL. So we are back level on the night, 18 apiece, 54.72, and we're going to take it from the start here, Barry. And Danny King says, see you later, lads, as soon as the tapes go up.
Yeah, he did. He made a great start. You can see him just flying out now. He really hooked up. You can see him drive for the bend, and that's it. Game over, really. Kennedy was a bit unlucky. If he had just pushed it a bit more wider, we would have stopped Mulford coming around him. But once Mulford was in 2nd, he just rode the line, really, and away we went.
Absolutely, and Danny with that free air up front, showing them the way. We've got a bit of sponsorship that has come adrift from one of the air fence panels here on bend number 2 that's going to be removed by the track staff.
That looks really heavy.
It does, particularly with all that material on it. And we're going to see Kai Ward replacing Alfie BOWTELL here in blue. So Garry May, who is often hell-bent on ruining my programme, is doing so once again, but we will stick with it and try not to make too many mistakes. So the riders make it round to the tapes. Scott Nicholls it is will take it from the inside. So let's take your lineup then for heat number 7, and off the inside in red is Scott Nicholls. Gate number 2 in white is Jason Edwards. Gate number 3 in blue is Kai Ward, and off the outside is Louis Kerr. So this is another tough task for Scott Nicholls to keep a very good rider at this level behind him in Louis Kerr, who looked very quick in his first ride of the night, eroding all that bad luck he's had on his 3 visits this year as a pool pirate. Looking very much back to the Louis Kerr that we've come to know at this level. Louis, who's guested a few times for the Gladiators in the past, and of course a former Gladiator in Jason Edwards. And Jason Barry is a rider who never seems to not have a smile on his face.
No, he's a really lovely young man, is Jason, and a fantastic rider as well. So he's the all-round real deal, and someone I really hope gets further and successful in the sport.
Absolutely, and great to see him picking up rides in the Premiership as well now, with a permanent berth up there. But they come into line as the wind picks up. Start marshal checks them over, and he moves out of the way. The green lights are on. Tapes rise, and away we go. Scott Nicholls looks to have made a good one, but Louis Kerr around the outside of gate number 4. It's not the graveyard tonight. Louis Kerr fired it up from gate number 4, and he has flown around the outside of Scott Nicholls, who has it all to do behind Louis.
And Scott's really got to put it on now. He's got to follow the dirt and go out much wider, but Louis Kerr is way ahead. Ward is at the back. He's doing really well, but I think that Jason Edwards will outrun him. And of course, now it looks like there's just a bit of one line. unless you're really wide, and that's what they're all chasing. They're all chasing that dirt line, especially on 1 and 2, what we can see here, but it's all down to Nicholls. He's got to get up.
He absolutely has, but Louis Kerr is away and gone up front here. He has stretched his legs and has pulled well away from Scott Nicholls. Jason Edwards himself never really landed a blow in this heat contest, but it is a heat advantage to the Redcar Bears, who for the first time on the night get their noses in front. And Louis Kerr is looking quick and is looking very confident, even after all those issues on his previous visits to the Coliseum this season. You wouldn't know it. This is much more the Louis Kerr that we're all used to.
Yeah, that's right. He's found his groove tonight, as they say, and he's flying. So, yeah, we need to try and curtail him somehow. I'm not sure how we're going to do that, but we need to do it. And, yeah, it looks like to me that they're going to grade the track now anyway, so they need to pull some of that dirt back down as well.
Absolutely. Full result for heat number 7, a win in yellow for Louis Kerr. Second in red was Scott Nicholls. A third in white for Jason Edwards. And off the outside in blue was Kai Ward. And we are going to have some more track work. Mark has got a new bit of machinery out that he's going to show off to this healthy crowd this evening. We'll take it from the tapes. You've got Scott Nicholls on the inside, Louis Kerr off the outside, and it's like Louis had a rocket strapped to the outside of his bike. He put his bike in the dirt, and again said, "See you later, folks."
Yeah, I mean that's the way to do it. He's flew out the start, and then he just puts his back wheel on the dirt line, and no one's going to touch him really.
Absolutely. As we see Mark come round, and we're losing another sponsorship board off the outside. It's plenty of material on that air fence. Let's take the gate stats so far. 3 wins off gate number 1, 1 win off gate number 2, 1 win off gate number 3, and 2 wins off gate number 4. So a fair spread early doors, particularly on the points as well, which is important. We don't want to have too many graveyard gates here this season. Let's take the team scores. Zaine Kennedy with 1 so far. Tobias THOMSEN with 8 from 3. Declan Kennedy 1 from 2. Off the Scott Nicholls with 5 from 2. Alfie BOWTELL 4 from 3. Kai Ward with 1 point to his name. Charles Wright has got 3, paid 4 so far. Jody SCOTT with 2. Jason Edwards with 2. Louis Kerr is on a maximum with 6. Denny King has got 5. Jake Mulford 4, paid 5. And unfortunately for Ace Pijper so far, 2 last places for him.
Yeah, we could do it, Zaine.
Absolutely. So while we've got you, Barry, it would be remiss of us not to talk about that incredible effort by your boys at Kings Lynn earlier in the week. Going down on the night just, but more importantly, the aggregate bonus point was secured.
That's right, yeah.
What a gutsy performance by the youngsters.
Heartfelt, brilliant performance by them. I think, if we're brutally honest, everyone expected us to lose and lose by a lot. And so, you know, on our track walk, I told everybody, you're all big track riders, you're all good around the larger tracks on the Isle of Wight, for example, and Redcar, you know, Ward rides for Redcar as well. And so does Charlie now, so they're all big tracks. There's no reason why we can't beat any of these, and to their credit, they really got stuck in. And, you know, at Heat 7, it was still 21 each apiece, and you know, there were some great performances. Kai rode really, really well. Charlie Southwick really, really well. And Ryan Ingram, who was 2 laps in front of Jody SCOTT before he unfortunately locked it up. I could not stop shouting any louder at him. He must have heard me in his helmet, you know. But hey, you know what? To take the bonus point from the champions and to beat them at home and lose by just 2 away, I'll take that. That's great.
Absolutely, and Ryan Ingram is certainly somebody who's racking up the points on a consistent basis this year for the Centurions, isn't he? He's really catching the eye. He's catching the eye everywhere that he goes. He's riding also really well on the Isle of Wight. He's done some really good performances there, and of course he rides for Leicester too in the National League, where he's riding really, really well. So he's coming of age now. He's still 15. I'm not sure actually when he's 16, but hopefully it'll be in time for next season. And the same with young Charlie Southwick. I think he's 16 in November, if memory serves me. Yeah. So, and let's take some race footage from a recent crash here at the Coliseum. The inside in white is Richard Lawson. Gate number 2 in red is Scott Nicholls. Gate number 3 is Tobias THOMSEN. Gate number 4 somehow is Ben Barker. I don't quite know how he's got through 7 rides tonight. And here we go. The start marshal moves out of the way. The green lights are on. It's all on the start. Scott Nicholls has got there. Ben Barker's trying to come over the top. This is enough for the Gladiators. Ben Barker! Around the outside of Richard Lawson. Scott Nicholls has a look for him. Barker's going to go around the outside. He's gone round Nicholls.
This is phenomenal. And Barker looking like he's heading to 18 points with a dislocated shoulder. Mawson will keep battling, but it's a massive job to try and overtake these two. We're not going to need a superheat. The Gladiators are going to wrap up the 2 points on their own here, barring any mechanical failures. This is unbelievable.
226 metres. The NHS stand are already on their feet. The Bar Bandits have their arms in the air. The Colin Hinds stand are roaring to success. They come off the final bend. Get ready, folks. The Gladiators have done it! Ben Barker and Scott Nicholls, for the third time in a season, the Gladiators have beaten the Poole Pirates. What a night!
Incredible. Barry Bishop celebrating with the riders. Garry May, who said, you never know, Mike, what happened in these closing heats, goes out to celebrate. Ben Barker, 18 points. That is phenomenal. And Scott Nicholls as well. Brilliant from those two riders.
Heat 15, a win in blue was Ben Barker. Second in red was Scott Nicholls. Third in white was Richard Lawson. Fourth in yellow was Tobias Thompson. Neil Middleditch out to shake the hands of every Plymouth rider and the Plymouth promotion. That is one heat of Speedway I will never want to forget. An absolutely brilliant end to last week. Barry, we just had massive smiles on our faces watching that one back.
It was electric. The whole stadium was throbbing with excitement. Yeah. It's just brilliant.
Absolutely. So we got 2 fixtures left of the Centurions left this season. We got one on the 30th of the month. I'm very happy to say I'll be part of the Gladiators TV crew for that one. And then we've got one more to be arranged. What's the ambitions left for the rest of the season now? What are you hoping to get? What are the riders hoping to get out of these last two? Other than the obvious answer of track time, what are they looking to get out of the final 2 fixtures of the year? It's
track time, and of course we want to finish second in the league, which we can do if we win both of our home matches. So that will be the plan, to finish second, take the bonus point, and finish in a really good, respectable position for the league. And you know what? For our team that we put together, it was built around 2 riders, Joe and Ben, and the rest we wanted to bring youth in, but it's partly through My First Skid and other schools or real youth, and then to build on that, and that's worked. The Charlie and Ryan particularly have come of age, and I think that's the way that we'll continue to build teams for the future as well.
Absolutely, and if it provides a conveyor belt of young riders to come into the Gladiators team in the future, then that's all we can ask for, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And you know what, the fans are responding as well now. They're really enjoying it. I was really surprised how many fans went up to Kings Lynn. I think there was 20 or 30 of them, and they made their voices well heard, and the boys were really appreciative of that, and that really does make a difference on race day when you hear the crowd screaming as much as they do, particularly here because it's so tightly confined. So yeah,
absolutely. And let's hope on the 30th, when the Centurions are next at home, we get another big crowd like we've had the last few weeks for the Gladiators. And if we can get an atmosphere like we had last week for a Centurions clash, we're in for a hell of a night with some of the country's best young talent on show around here. Just to give you advance warning, in heat number 8, Scott Nicholls will be out taking the rider replacement ride in red. He will join either Kai Ward or Alfie BOWTELL. I presume that Kai will get another go in this one, but we will wait and see. Jody SCOTT and Ace Pijper will be the Redcar Bears pair. We've got a bit of tractor racing at the moment. Track staff doing all they can to shift some of that material, as Barry said, try and get it towards the inside of the racetrack.
Yeah, and I think, Kai Ward's got to be looking again to beat Ace Pijper. He beat him in heat 2, so that's maybe
a hard
Garry.
move in heat 2 as
well.
that
was a good move. Well, tough move to be fair. But he's what gate is he on? Is he inside
him again? He will be coming off gate number 1. Yeah, so Ace will be off 2.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that will be Kai's game plan. I'm sure Gary's briefed him with what to do and what he expects from him, and if he could do the same, then it will be great for the Gladiators.
Absolutely. Who will need to get back on terms on the night. We have just heard that Jake Mulford will replace Ace Pijper in yellow here, so that perhaps makes Kai's task just a little bit harder.
Yeah, a little bit harder, yeah. But not impossible. He rode very, very well up at Kings Lynn, so he just needs to do the same here. Absolutely,
and as we said earlier on in the show, got a vital bit of experience last night, as you say, has ridden up at Redcar before and got the 7 rides for the Gladiators last night, and really, really tough circumstances. Just touching on that very quickly. Oh, my heart goes out to Mark and Gary and everybody behind the scenes here. If we didn't have bad luck, we absolutely would have no luck at all.
I know. I mean, it's just such a shame, but that's the sport that we love sometimes, and sometimes you get the roll of the dice and sometimes you don't. It's just unfortunate here. We seem to not get the roll of the dice too often. And Bed being hurt again, he was absolutely flying lately, you know, and it was just, I'm not sure how bad his hand is. It's broken it, right, I think, so that's probably end of season for him, I would think, but maybe some laser treatment or something could fix it.
And we don't have to worry about Kai Ward trying to get up the inside of Jake Mulford here, because Alfie BOWTELL has emerged in a blue helmet colour.
There we go.
So it's now his task to get up the inside of Jake Mulford. As we say, we send our best wishes to Ben and Joe. Hopefully Joe will still be back on a bike this season. Ben, as we say, I think Ben needs to take a bit of time just to rest up now. He put everything on the line last week.
Yeah.
So let's send our best wishes to them. Let's take the lineup for heat number 8. Off the inside in blue is Alfie BOWTELL. Gate number 2 is reserve switch for the Bears is Jake Mulford. Gate number 3 in red is Scott Nicholls. And off the outside in white is Jody SCOTT. So not only has Garry May played his rider replacement trump card here in red, he has also strengthened up the lineup in this heat by bringing Alfie BOWTELL in to really try and get amongst the Bears and poke the Gladiators back in front on the night.
Yeah, we got to get back even with them. You can't let it slip behind too much, and that's what he's doing. He obviously wants to bring us back up level or ahead, and that will be his game plan for sure, because if we fall behind, then it's too easy to slip further and further and further.
Absolutely, and as we said earlier, fair play to the Gladiators, who kept the Redcar Bears honest for so long last night with an absolutely battered and bruised team. I mean, who'd have thought we'd be getting to this stage where Scott Nicholls is the fittest in the Gladiators team when he signed only a few weeks ago after his shoulder issues. It just shows where the Gladiators' luck is at the moment, but rest assured, those are the teams that the Gladiators will be coming against next year. They are due their fair share of good luck, so fingers crossed that 2025 can end in style and 26 can start with a bang. The start marshal moves out of the way, the green lights are on. Scott Nicholls gets away, but so does Jake Mulford. Jake Mulford is going to push Scott Nicholls wide, but Scott will try and keep it wound on. Alfie BOWTELL has got up the inside of Jody SCOTT, and now Jody's trying to come around the outside of Alfie BOWTELL, who's just across to the outside. Oh, this is a good battle!
And Nicholls got to put it on now. He's got to really go down to catch up with Mulford, who's riding a really nice line at the minute, but there's plenty of dirt on the inside, of course, now. That Mark's just regraded it, but the battle's at the back. The battle's at the back, and Alfie's got to keep going. Oh, he's just got to the inside of him.
Brilliant move. Brilliant move by Jody SCOTT, who caught Alfie BOWTELL napping. Scott Nicholls has a long look behind. He's trying to see what's going on. Alfie drifts very wide, tries to get the wheels in line. Can he launch something off bends 3 and 4? They come to take the checkered flag, and Garry May's trump card hasn't worked. The Redcar management to our left punched the air. What a ride by Jake Mulford, and absolutely what a brilliant ride by Jody SCOTT to get up the inside of Alfie BOWTELL, just what the doctor ordered for the Bears.
Yeah, exactly. I did warn earlier that Mulford was coming up strong, and he's reserve, of course, so he can be swapped in and out at will. So, yeah, we need to control him a little bit more. But unfortunately, Gary's trump card, as you say, didn't work, and now we've got to really go down and start thinking about the next race.
Absolutely. Your full result for heat number 8, off win in yellow for Jake Mulford, 2nd in red for Scott Nicholls, who was a rider replacement, a 3rd in white for Jody SCOTT, and a 4th place for Alfie BOWTELL, just when they didn't need it. 22-26. We're going to let Barry go. Barry, thank you very much for joining us. We'll hopefully catch up with you a little bit later on.
Yeah, I'll try and come back later.
As we will take the race replay here then for heat number 8, and you're going to see a brilliant start by Jake Mulford in yellow. Looked like Scott Nicholls had made a good one. Jake just pushed him out into no man's land. He tried to keep it wound on. This is where Alfie BOWTELL gets the better of Jody SCOTT here, and at this point it looks like Alfie may well have him covered. Just drifts up wide. Jody then tries to come up the inside. Alfie keeps him penned in, and this is where Jody SCOTT just keeps it up the inside. Alfie just manages to close the gap on that occasion, but Jody SCOTT says you're not getting it that easily. And this is where he goes out a little bit wider, just try to generate that speed. He straightens the bike up, comes up the inside of Alfie BOWTELL, and slammed it up the inside. It's a good move by Jody SCOTT. As I say, right when the Redcar Bears needed it. he delivers. So it's 22-26 on the night as the riders make their way round to the tapes. And we'll take your lineup then for heat number 9. Off the inside in blue is Declan Kennedy. If white is Danny King. Gate number 3 in red is Tobias Thompson. And off the outside in yellow as a reserve switch for the Bears, Ace Pijper replaces Jake Mulford. So the Gladiators now desperately needing Lady Luck to shine on them here. They are in danger, as Barry said a little bit earlier on. They're in danger of letting the Redcar Bears get away here. And Redcar are already so evenly matched up. They could be a very tough nut to crack for the rest of the evening, with the likes of Louis Kerr, Jason Edwards, Charles Wright in their team, and Jake Mulford is having a very, very strong night here for the Bears. As the riders take their time at the tapes, Tobias Thompson, Gladiators need him to be at his very best here. Danny King, who got a good win in his last ride, will look to make it difficult. Declan Kennedy in line, as is Tobias now. Start marshal moves out of the way. The green lights are on. The tapes rise and away we go. Danny King has made it, but more importantly for the Gladiators, Declan Kennedy has come across. Oh, it's a horrible accident. Absolutely a horrible accident. The red lights came on. Tobias Thompson is stuck under the air fence currently. He's trying to get out. Declan Kennedy is also on the ground. Danny King gets a warning, so it was an unsatisfactory start at the tapes. The red lights were on straight away, and unfortunately Declan Kennedy lifted and caught Tobias Thompson, who is now out from underneath the air fence, which is a great relief to all involved. We won't show any replays for the time being because Declan Kennedy is still down and is going to be treated here by the medical staff. Barry Bishop, fresh from his little stint on commentary, getting out there to get in conversation. Tobias Thompson walking away. He looks just a little bit stiff and sore, but he looks okay, thankfully, as he walks away. A little bit frustrated with everything that's gone on here. We do hope that everything is okay with Declan Kennedy. We also have a bit of an issue with one of the air fence panels, so we are going to be in for a minor delay here. Just a reminder that Danny King was warned by referee Chris Gave for an unsatisfactory start when we do get the race back underway in due course. Zaine Kennedy and Garry May are over with Declan, who still hasn't moved. He's now sitting up, which is a relief for all involved, but the medics are over there with him, so we send our best wishes to Declan while he's on the ground. And we will have a pause. Just a reminder, no replays are shown until we know that all riders are okay. And Declan Kennedy continues to be checked over by the medics over on bend number 2. So we will wait as the track team now just go to remove the damaged air fence panel. Declan Kennedy is still sat up, so we do keep everything crossed here that everything is okay with Declan, but he will need to take as long as he needs before he gets on his feet. As Barry Bishop and the track team make their way over. Declan Kennedy now on his feet, looking a little bit sore, helped to his feet by the medics, but is now up and walking away, limping away. Garry May escorts him back with Zaine Kennedy, and we'll keep everything crossed that Declan is okay. Of course, a guest rider in from the Scunthorpe Scorpions here tonight in place of Lasse Fredriksson, who broke his wrist here last week against the Poole Pirates. Declan hobbles away with Zaine to his side. Garry May also there. Let's take a look at the replay. Danny King flies around into bends 1 and 2. The red lights are on. Declan Kennedy just straightens up. I think Danny King sees the red lights and just slows up. But unfortunately, Declan was looking towards the inside. It's an unfortunate accident. Absolutely no blame attributed to anybody for this. It's just an awful tangle up between the riders. Declan Kennedy was obviously trying to get round Danny King, but the red lights were already on at the time. Unfortunately, both riders have walked away perfectly fine from this incident. To be fair to Chris Gay, he put the red lights on straight away once he saw there'd been a starting infringement. You see Tobias THOMSEN going around the inside. He's actually looking to see Declan Kennedy there. And fair play to the track staff, who were on hand almost immediately as both riders ended up in the fence. But Mark is around there with his track team, who did such a good job last weekend in getting the meeting on, making sure that we managed to complete the fixture. And they will now work tremendously hard to get the air fence fixed so we can get back underway as soon as is safe to do so. Maximus going round on his push bike, trying to get some noise from the crowd, who are currently enjoying watching the track staff repair the fence on Bend 2 at the moment. But we will have a little pause to proceedings. Let's give you a score update from Ashfield, north of the border. And the Glasgow Tigers are pulling away from the Oxford Cheetahs up there. It is now 28 points to 14 to the Tigers. Chris Harris is on a paid maximum. Villa Nagel is on a paid maximum. Leon Flint with 4 points to his name. Kyle Howarth is currently on a full maximum for the Tigers, and only the 2 race winners for the Cheetahs so far. Sam Masters with 1, and Luke Colleen, fresh from his own little incident in the week where he had to withdraw from a meeting back in the Cheetahs team, but he has managed to get a win in one of his rides. So while the track staff repair the fence, we're going to have a bit of track grading going on as well, as Maximus will get out of the way of the tractor, we hope. We don't want Maximus getting injured as well. I don't think we can get rider replacement or a guest for a mascot, so take it easy out there, Maximus. Doing a good job as always down here, Maximus, and getting some interaction. And it will, just a reminder, when we do get the air fence fixed, it will be all 4 back here in heat number 9. Danny King was given that warning by Chris Gay for moving at the tapes, and of course, when a rider is moving and gains such an advantage, the race will be stopped. And unfortunately, that led to the incident. The red lights were on before the incident took place. So it's just an unfortunate accident of wrong place, wrong time for both the Gladiators. As we take a look at the track staff working away, but while they do that, we will take in some more race footage from here at the Coliseum. Here's the lineup for heat number 11. Off the inside in red, Scott Nicholls. Off gate number 2 in white, Richard Lawson. Gate number 3 in blue, Ben Barker. And off the outside, banging his bike against the fence there, was Tobias THOMSEN. Ben Barker in as a tactical sub. The green lights are on. Long hold, tapes rise, and away they go. Barker's made it this time. He was not going to make the same mistake a second time, and Ben Barker follows around Scott Nicholls, and Scott Nicholls has got bike issues. Oh, of all the times, Scott Nicholls has bike issues, and Ben Barker now has to fend off Richard Lawson.
Yeah, Richard Lawson and Barker battling it out at the front, but yeah, such a shame with Scott Nicholls there dropping out. Barker just giving this 100% again. Lawson not settling for a 3-3 here. He wants to win this race.
He is absolutely giving it everything, and now Lawson tries to throw it up the inside of Ben Barker. Ben drifts right, Richards towards the inside. They chop and change. What a move by Ben Barker. Up the inside, now he goes to the outside on the run to the line. Back against the win! Ben Barker, how on earth is he managing to do this? I do not understand what we've just seen.
We're running out of superlatives, aren't we?
My goodness gracious me. It's only a 3-3, but he is raising the roof. It's a 3-all. It's a win in blue for Ben Barker. It's a second in white for Richard Lawson. Third in yellow for Tobias THOMSEN. Drifts to the outside. Ben Barker on the run to the line. Not only did he raise the roof last week, but he's also raised the bar in terms of heroic stakes that I've ever seen from any sportsman. To be able to do what Ben achieved last week after dislocating his shoulder 72 hours before was quite incredible. He was powered with adrenaline and he gave it absolutely everything for the club he's given so much to down the years, and a club that owes Ben so much, and we wish him all the very best for his recovery after that horrible incident up at the Echo Arena last night. Massive thanks must go to all the team at Redcar for their swift response and all the treatment that Ben received. I was hoping to get a chat with Ben at some point tonight, but obviously that will not be the case. But hopefully before the season's out, we will get to see Ben back at the Coliseum, very much in a watching capacity, even if I have to chain him to a stand myself. But absolutely, Ben is a rider who gives 100% and has given that and more in recent weeks for the Gladiators when they've needed it most. Of course, that slow start at the start of the season put them well behind the 8 ball, but they've given absolutely everything in the last few weeks to try and get amongst it and to get amongst the mix for a place in the playoffs. But it's not going to be, it would seem, with just a handful of meetings to go. This one tonight, where obviously they are 4 points down on the night. There's Jake Mulford's score so far. Very impressive night for Jake Mulford so far, with 7 points and a bonus to his name. As the track staff continue to work, we'll now see the Gladiators points. Zaine KENNEDY will be frustrated so far, but has a couple of rides still to come for himself. Tobias THOMSEN impressing once again with 8 points from 3 rides on Gladiators duty. Declan KENNEDY, who we hope will be okay after his little spill in the last heat. Scott Nicholls with 7 points as well, leading the way with his experienced hat on. Alfie BOWTELL, just a little bit disappointing in his last 2 rides, but he will know he can do better. And of course Kai Ward, who is trying absolutely everything he can on Gladiators duty to get amongst it. As we wait, 22-26, 58-80 overall. Let's take a look at the gate stats. And Gate 1 just starting to get ahead now. 3 wins for Gate 1, 2 wins for Gate 2. So you want to be towards that inside. Just the 1 win for Gate number 3, but a couple of wins on the outside for Gate number 4. But it's an even spread of points, which does suggest, whilst yes, there might be X amount of wins at a certain part of the track, that if the points are spread, then it's a fairly level start line, and that's all you can want. You don't really want a track bias, particularly not around the Coliseum that's so tight and technical. So it is good to see tonight that we have an even start line. In recent weeks, as I said earlier on, Gate number 4 has been an absolute graveyard to riders. You can see the air fence is now totally deflated. A replacement is ready to be fitted. Barry Bishop is inspecting what's going on. Clerk of the course Rob Duran is also down there as well. He will be keeping his eyes firmly on what's happening. Larry trying to do all he can with the music here at the Coliseum to create a good atmosphere, get people involved. Another really healthy crowd in tonight. Can't speak highly of the crowd last week, and while we're talking of the crowd last week, let's take in some more race footage from the Coliseum. BOWTELL. Gate number 2 in white is Zach Cook. Gate number 3 in red is Joe Thompson. Gate number 4 in yellow is Paul Stark. The Gladiators fans are still making noise. Will the Speedway gods shine on Garry May? The tapes rise and Alfie BOWTELL has made it. Joe Thompson's going to try and follow him round. Can Alfie pin Zach Cook to the inside? Here comes Joe Thompson round the outside. Zach Cook will shut the door on him. Joe will try and cut up the inside. Can he make it stick? Joe Thompson is through!
Wow, this is incredible. I said you never know when this meeting is finished, and Gladiators on a 5-1 at the moment. Joe Thompson getting up inside Zach Cook there, and it looks like Ben Barker is going to be into a last heat decided in that heat 15, but great effort from BOWTELL and Thompson here. They've still got another lap to go and Zach Cook is keeping them honest.
226 metres to go. Alfie BOWTELL and Joe Thompson are about to bring the loudest cheer of the night. The crowd have stuck with us and they are going to get a last heat decider. A 5-1 to the Gladiators.
Wow.
As if you'd think you'd seen it all.
As I said before, the script for this meeting has just been too unbelievable for words.
A win in blue for Alfie BOWTELL. Second in red is Joe Thompson. Third in white was Zach Cook. Fourth in... That was when the belief really set into the Coliseum. We can see Charles Wright just down by the pit gate here, just holding his right shoulder. His Kevlars are off, so hopefully all is well with Charles. But hopefully he's okay. Not sure whether he's got an ice pack under there. It looks like he might have, so hopefully all's okay with Charles. Not sure if there's a recurring injury that maybe just on this tight technical track that might have resurfaced, so hopefully he's okay. Danny King inspecting what's going on down there as well. What a night it was last week. I'll never tire of talking about it, but we got a big few heats to come here as well, and the Gladiators could do with one of those races that was a momentum swinger that they had last week. So many races turned it round for the Gladiators last week. That 5-1 from Alfie and Joe Thompson. Again, Joe Thompson did exactly the same at Wimborne Road on the Wednesday night, where he was able to lift himself and get a win in heat number 14, and he was part of that heat 14 that brought in a 5-1 that levelled up the meeting last week. And then, as you've seen already, Ben Barker and Scott Nicholls brought it home in style. It would be nice if we can have something similar tonight, maybe a last heat decider. Not sure my voice will last as well as it did last week if we manage to get that far, but we will try our best and we will give it our all here on Gladiators TV to bring the very best action. So you do hope you're enjoying the coverage at home, wherever you may be. Just manoeuvring that air fence panel in place now, so hopefully that will be inflated, and then once that's done, we obviously have the track grading. There might just be a little bit of work that will need to be done where they've been manoeuvring the air fence around, but hopefully that will only take a couple of seconds. But Scott Nicholls just given an interview to the crowd here at the Coliseum, who appear to maybe have lost sound at one end of the track. Can only hear sound coming to my left side, either that or I'm going deaf in the right ear, but after listening to my commentary there from the last couple of meetings, that might actually be the case. So we will wait and see what's going on. Hospitality guests in the 500 Club enjoying themselves out on the balcony, although it looks like their building has gone dark as well, so perhaps there is a bit of a power shortage to one corner of the track. The floodlights are still on, that's the main thing. So we've not lost power to the floodlights, which will be a great relief. So we will hope that whatever issue that is can be fixed so that the people on bends 1 and 2 can enjoy their night. There's absolutely no danger of that happening to us, which is good. So we will now wait and hope that that air fence is inflated in due course. A couple of the riders down at the pit gate can see Scott Nicholls in conversation with Louis Kerr, Danny King's down there, Jake Mulford as well, Charles Wright continuing to hold that right shoulder. And of course, around a tight technical track like this, it's not really the sort of thing you want to have, a dodgy shoulder, although Ben Barker had a dodgy shoulder last week, so see what Charles can do with a couple of his rides left. Tobias Thompson coming to have a look what's going on. He's having another mighty fine night in Gladiators colours. Been here a fair few times, as most pool riders are across the course of the year, with the BSN series and the what seems now inevitable draw in the Knockout Cup against the Pool Pirates. The cheerleading team doing what they can to keep everybody entertained. The temperature's dropped because the sun's disappeared, but it's still dry, which is absolutely the main thing as we wait and see what's going on. Mark Phillips is still trying to attach that bit of air fence together as we wait and see. Heat number 9 will resume. As I say, there is a warning for the rider in white, Danny King, and reminder that Ace Pijper is out in yellow. I'm delighted to say I've been joined here on the commentary gantry by former Gladiator, now very much a Redcar Bear, Jason Edwards. Jason, good evening.
Thank you very much, yeah.
It's going well for your boy so far.
Yeah, I haven't got a clue what the score is. Obviously,
26-22 on the night.
Oh, is it? Yeah, no, like I say, obviously, as much as Plymouth's a depleted team, they've got quite a lot of riders that are very good around this track, and this track is a very unique one in British Speedway. And like I say, it means there is a massive home advantage. So, like I say, anyone can pop out and win a race.
When you say it's a unique track, it's a good challenge, though, isn't it? Because not every track can be the same, and it's a good test of a rider coming down to Plymouth. Obviously, you spent a season down here a few years ago. How do you think that helped you and where you've got to now? Obviously, Redcar completely different to this place, as is everywhere. I remember Simon Lambert once saying this place like going around on a dustbin lid. Is that a fair?
Oh right, I think he's giving it a bit of stick, to be honest. No, I think it's good for British Speedway. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's nice to have a track down south like we are here. It's nice to be actually as close as you are as a spectator to be able to watch. And I think generally everything's good for British Speedway. Like I say, it's nice to ride. I know a lot of riders give it a lot of stick, but it's nice for a bit of variety. You've got Berwick in this league, and then you got here. You couldn't get two polar opposites. So, and like I say, it also should make a shake-up in the results all the time, and it's what you want.
Absolutely, and the Gladiators have been in good form here at home, winning their last three, although you boys are doing everything you can to not make it a quadruple. On last night, obviously there was a lot of build-up going into the fixture, that it was set up to be an absolute cracker between the two sides. Obviously from a Gladiators standpoint, everything went awry with that awful incident in heat number 3, but they kept you honest for as long as they could, with essentially, what, three riders basically, wasn't it, by the end of the night?
Yeah, that was it. And like I say, that's where Redcar can be very good and very bad, because you do lack that home track advantage as such. But again, for British Speedway, you get brilliant racing, and every meeting you know is going to be a good one. And for me, it's been brilliant riding at Redcar, just because it's a nice big track, and I've really learnt to actually let the bike run and, well, try and go a bit quicker, to be honest. So you come here and obviously you got to turn it, be very good at starts and get round, and then you go there where you might make a start, but you need to be really quick. So, no, like I say, a bit of variety is always good, and no, we go again, hopefully not too long.
No, absolutely. Looks like they've got that air fence panel fixed, so it shouldn't be hopefully too much longer. In terms of the bigger picture, then obviously you guys very much in the box seat for that extra place in the playoffs. Oxford currently well behind at Glasgow currently, so that will be a great relief to you guys with them trying to chase you down. But for now, it's all about trying to get the maximum 5 points out of this one and see where you land at the end of that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Obviously, we want to get aggregate points everywhere we go. We want to win every meeting, but every team does. So, like I say, I'm not entirely sure, again, what the whole situation is. I just know every meeting we need to go in and win. And it gives us our best chance, and every team's the same. But like I say, to start with, we had quite a lot of fixtures in hand, so it kind of always looked like we were at the bottom of the league and not getting anywhere. So that's what's been nice. Obviously now we've had a really nice consistent run of meetings. It's kind of meant we've jumped up quite quickly, and I think we are in that 4th spot now. Yeah. And yeah, like I say, hopefully we get in the playoffs, and whoever we meet, we meet.
Absolutely, and whoever you meet, you'll give a stern test to, because it's a very well-balanced side. Obviously, I was just up here with Barry Bishop, the Centurions team manager down here, and he was talking about how much Jake Mulford's coming along, and he's having a very good night so far. An excellent ride in that last heat to keep Scott Nicholls at bay, but not only keep Scott Nicholls at bay, pull away from him.
Yeah, I said to Jake, I said, well, he went from well there, because he didn't do anything silly. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't trying to do the bark around the bags or anything like that. He was just steady around the inside and pulled away. So no, Jake's last sort of 3 meetings, he's been in, well, top form, to be honest. Obviously he's been doing his under 21s and everything else, but he's back to league racing now. And yeah, like I say, I think he's enjoying it. I think he's enjoying being back racing in Britain, knowing a bit more what he's getting, not going into the unexpected. And yeah, like I say, he's done most of the meetings with me this week, to be honest. He's been at Ipswich, we've been at Redcar, and we're here today. And
just before you let you go, it would be wrong of me not to mention there's a collection of Redcar Bears fans down on the back straight on the Colin Hill stand. Plymouth is a long way to go at the best of times. It's class to see them here tonight.
Yeah, I didn't know we were going to zoom in, because I reckon we can zoom in on them. Yeah, there they are.
There's a collection. There's another group at the end of the Colin Hill stand.
They don't know they're on film, do they? But no, like I say, you've got a couple there. We get salads every meeting, and like I say, the Redcar, they are absolutely brilliant. We go to Berwick, and it feels like a home track. We go to Scunthorpe, they've got the whole first bend, and they couldn't get further away here, and they still come. Absolutely. And I know that even the first running of the meeting, which got cancelled, unfortunately, we had a coach or minibus come down. And like I say, you can't fault that. No. Do you know what I mean? And you get the same here with obviously the bar bandits going here, there, and everywhere. Yeah, they all look happy in the crowd, don't they? They don't really know what's going on. But it's what you want. You want, because I know myself, we never used to go to a meeting sort of
unless it was our local tracks and so on. So to get them to come all this distance and still support us, yeah, we better win for them, really.
Absolutely. Jason, we'll let you go because I don't think we're too far away from getting back underway here. There's a little bit of watering going on and then maybe a quick track grade. So we'll let you crack on with the rest of the night.
Yeah,
all the best.
Thank you very much.
Hope for a safe night. I'll take that one off you. Cheers, Jason. Good to hear from Jason Edwards. As we said earlier on with Barry Bishop, always a rider who has a smile on his face at every opportunity and in good spirits with himself as the water truck makes its way round. They're just scraping some of the material out from under the air fence where it deflated at the moment, so hopefully that isn't going to take too long. Here we go. This is what we want. Barry has brought the goods. The shovels are out. I only said last week with Nigel Warren I missed the day of the brooms that used to be here sweeping the dirt out from the boards, and Barry has come up trumps and they are now going to shovel the material out from under the air fence. This track staff, they've had all sorts to deal with in recent weeks. I bet they didn't think they'd be getting the shovels out tonight. But absolutely, we take our hat off to them. Track's in really good nick tonight. I was remiss of me not to ask Jason actually what he thought of the racing surface here tonight, but it does look in very good condition. It's been a very dry week, very little moisture, certainly coming from the skies. We did have one night of rain a little bit earlier in the week, which would have absolutely helped, and of course Mark will have been putting plenty of water down in the run-up to tonight. I see Rob Duran supervising the shovelling. Whatever you do, lads, don't ask any of the bar bandits to do any shovelling. They might be able to handle a trowel. I'm not sure I'd trust any of them with a shovel. But they will be deep in conversation, trying to work out their next move. The bar bandits in the crowd. Let's take one final bit of race footage for you then. When we come back, we won't be too far away from a resumption.
Heat number 11, sponsored by Agilia, your major infrastructure partners, with Troy Batchelor on the inside in white. Next to him in red, Gate 2, Scott Nicholls, recent signing for Plymouth. Ben Trigger is the man in yellow as a rider replacement for Fraser Bowes, and Kai Ward takes the place of Alfie BOWTELL in blue, and he is on the outside. He's only had 2 rides so far, so might be a bit cold, but he certainly gets the jump there over Scott Nicholls, and it's the Workington pairing that lead going into it, but Scott Nicholls coming into the picture and into the frame and into second place, diving under Ben Trigger, but Ben Trigger trying to get him back as they cross for lap 2. But no doubt about the leader right now, Troy Batchelor, the Workington skipper.
Yeah, Batchelor's out in front, but look at Scotty Nicholls here. He's trying to chase that high line. Trigger's not too off the pace in third position here, but Scotty Nicholls trying the outside. He's railing the fence there, getting a load of speed off the corner. Can he make the pass here in turns 3 and 4?
Yeah, we've certainly got a race on as they come around for the final lap. Scott Nicholls all over Troy Batchelor's back wheel. Can he get himself in the dirt? Gets a bit of a kick there down the back straight.
He's going to get him.
He's certainly left a bit of room as Troy Batchelor, but it's a race to the line. A straight match race to the line. Oh, Nicholls got him.
Wow.
Nicholls got him right on the line.
What a race. Scott Nicholls, welcome back to Speedway. That was superb. If he's got it, here we look back at it again. What a turn here, full commitment here from Scott Nicholls. Batchelor riding the race, probably thinks he's got it as they run down to the line.
I think he got him.
I think he's going to say, Scott Nicholls, take your hat off, sir. That was fantastic.
Told you the racing had been good down here at the Coliseum lately. Scott Nicholls in great form, getting up the outside of Troy Batchelor there. Thanks to BSN for the use of that footage. BSN, who've been here on a number of occasions this year to the Coliseum. They are always welcome down here. As we see Mark working away with the tractor. Don't know whether the wrong bit of machinery has been brought out here or not, but I don't think we're too far away. That's the feeling I'm getting at the moment. So we will wait and see how much longer we have. We do hope you're enjoying the coverage at home brought to you here by Gladiators TV. I can't tell you how much fun this is. It's, you know, when you think about where sport was before COVID and before streaming was even a thing of all sports fixtures. The use of streaming since the COVID pandemic has really taken the exposure that clubs get, particularly in sports like Speedway, to a whole new level at the moment. And it's having absolutely no effect on the crowds here at the Coliseum. As I say, the crowds have been up through the roof in recent weeks. And we do hope that wherever you are enjoying our footage tonight. It's obviously a great asset for people who can't get to every fixture, and not everybody can get to every fixture. And particularly tonight, for all you Redcar Bears fans at home, it's a long way. It's not exactly down the road for you. We do hope you enjoy the coverage that we are bringing. As I say, it's great to see a handful of Redcar Bears fans here, but certainly as I say, as a Plymouth supporter, it's a long way to anywhere. It seems even our closest away trip of Poole is a good three and a bit hours on the road, and there's not every occasion you can get up to Wimborne Road, so the streaming services that have been brought in are absolutely brilliant. Mark Phillips has given the thumbs up to Rob Duran, and the riders are getting ready, and we will soon get some bikes back out on the track. Barry Bishop makes his way around the infield as well, as Mark exits stage left in the far corner of the Coliseum here. Tonight's meeting sponsored by Thermo Home. Thanks to them for their sponsorship of this clash. As we wait to get the action underway, and unfortunately I do have some bad news to bring you for the rest of tonight's meeting. Alfie BOWTELL is going to come out here in blue because unfortunately Declan Kennedy is out of the rest of tonight's clash. So unfortunately bad luck has befell even the Gladiators guests. That sums up how the last few weeks have gone for the Gladiators. But Alfie BOWTELL is out in blue. If Alfie didn't already know that he was in for a busy night, he absolutely is now. So Alfie will be joining Tobias THOMSEN out here in heat number 9. So we will give you a revised lineup once again. Oh, you can't keep track of it all up here. Heat number 9 then. Here is your lineup for the rerun, and off the inside in blue is Alfie BOWTELL. Gate number 2 in white is Danny King, who's been given that warning by Chris Gay for moving at the start line. Off the gate number 3 in red is Tobias THOMSEN, and off the outside in yellow will be Ace Pijper. So we are just about set for the resumption of racing here at the Coliseum tonight. Massive thanks to Mark Phillips and the whole track staff once again for working efficiently to get the air fence fixed. And they are doing so we can have this entertainment for you. And the riders continue to work on their start boxes. Danny King and Alfie BOWTELL trying to pack as much material as they can into their ruts. And the start marshal will soon call them into line. Mark Phillips putting on his best sprint to get across the track, and does so in perfect time. And now the start marshal will surely call them into line. I don't know how long is left on the 2 minutes. There won't be too much left, I wouldn't have thought. Danny King just has another check of his machinery. Alfie BOWTELL tests out his engine's capability on the inside in blue. So here we go then. The resumption of racing at the Coliseum, 22.26 on the night, 58.80 on aggregate. The green lights are on for the rerun of heat number 9. Danny King gets another flyer, but Alfie BOWTELL from the inside gets across him. Now Danny King's going to try and go up the inside again. Alfie's wise to it and closes the door, just tries to slow it up a little bit. Danny King and Alfie BOWTELL, it's awfully tight off 3 and 4. Alfie's going to have to keep it wound on here. Danny King is trying to keep the pressure on and does so. Tobias THOMSEN lifts violently, and Tobias is into the fence on the back straight. The red lights are on immediately. He lifted violently off bends 1 and 2 in pursuit of trying to get to Alfie BOWTELL and Danny King. Red lights are on. And now we wait again. And we hope, and Tobias THOMSEN will be excluded from heat number 9. But now we keep our fingers crossed once again for another Gladiator rider. Tobias is down on the deck. He is moving. He's just taken his helmet colour off and thrown his goggles away. The medics are with him, as are the track staff. Scott Nicholls is heading over to check on the Gladiators guest. Rob Duran making his way over. Garry May as well. Penny for Garry May's thoughts at the moment. Lost 2 riders last night and already has lost 1 guest booking who's out of the meeting, and now Tobias Thompson is down on the deck being looked at by the medics as well. It was a violent accident as he came off bends 1 and 2. Hopefully he's okay. He was trying to hunt down Danny King as best he could. It was a good battle brewing between Danny King and Alfie BOWTELL. Alfie was definitely with the upper hand at the time. Tobias's bike looks very much worse for wear at this point as they carry it back to the pits area. And we wait. And it's right that Tobias gets enough time as he needs to recover here. Garry May is there. Scott Nicholls is over there as well. Just a reminder of the policy here on Gladiators TV. We won't show any replays until we're absolutely sure that all riders are okay. And they will wait and check on Tobias Thompson. Not short of drama at the Coliseum at the moment. Riders giving it absolutely everything for their clubs. The stakes are high at this stage of the year. And we now wait and continue to wait to hear of news of how Tobias Thompson is. He is still down on the back straight, but the medics are trying to help him to his feet, and he has not got to his feet just yet, I don't think. The Colin Hill stand were applauding as if he was attempting to get to his feet, but I'm not sure from my vantage point whether he is. He is surrounded by a wall of medics at the moment, so there you can see our lovely crowd on the NHS stand. They're looking on anxiously as well. We're going to see a new bit of board fitted to the back straight as well. Tobias's crash has obviously made an impact that Clerk of the Course Rob Duran is not happy with over there on that back straight. And now Tobias Thompson is on his feet to a warm round of applause from the Gladiators crowd. He's being held by the medics at the moment. He doesn't look very steady at all, but as they see them come in here, you can just see him put his wheel across the white line and his bike lifts violently, and he almost collects Danny King on his way, and that would have been an awful impact. And it's a bad enough impact as it is for Tobias Thompson, who is trying to walk away at the moment, as you can see, looking very, very battered and bruised. And well, I'd love to try and get a chat with Garry May at the end of this meeting and just asking what exactly is going through his mind at the moment, because the bad luck that's besotting the Gladiators is quite staggering. Tobias being helped away now by the medics, and we hope and pray it's not as bad as it seems. We'll take another replay. Danny King putting Alfie BOWTELL under all sorts of pressure on the front end. Good hard racing between these two. You just see Tobias Thompson's bike lift there, and oh, that is so close to Danny King. I think Danny has a look, so I don't know whether Tobias actually does make contact with Danny King there. We'll never know because we don't have the angle, but Danny King had a look almost immediately behind him there. And Tobias Thompson continues to walk very steadily over towards the pit gate, just making sure everything's okay. They're tough cookies, these Speedway riders, and absolutely we keep everything crossed that Tobias Thompson is okay here, as he's helped off the track by some medics, and a round of applause accompanies him from the NHS stand. And Tobias will now go straight into the ambulance for further assessment with the doctors. And now we will wait once again here for the track staff to do their thing. And we will await to find out as and when we might get the action back underway here. Very, very stop-start nature to the evening. And we will keep everything crossed that Tobias is okay. Mark Phillips emerges with a very powerful looking drill to fit that new kickboard on that back straight. And Mark Phillips will be joined by the track staff to try and repair what's been damaged over on that back straight. So we are going to have another pause in play here. Garry May's gone back into the Plymouth pits just to check on everybody, I think. Just to have a good once over of all his riders here. There's Mark Phillips being pointed to where the damaged board is. You can see by Mark's attire there, he's having to do it all again tonight. He would have hoped for a much quieter evening than the one we had last week, where him and the track staff worked so tirelessly to get the meeting A, on, and B, completed last week. All sorts of challenges were thrown their way, and we have to give credit and huge thanks to each and every one of them. As we said on the live stream last week, it was a huge credit to both teams for the efforts they put in. The pool riders giving absolutely everything. Plymouth riders giving that and more. But once again, the Gladiators are now having to check on the well-being of one another and hope for the very best that they will have enough about them to get through this meeting. A message goes out from the sound system to thank the Redcar Bears fans for their long trip down today. The weather was lovely earlier on. I hope they were down in plenty of time to enjoy it. It has gone quite a bit chilly now. Possibly what they're used to up in the northeast. It's often quite cold up there as the nights draw in. Somebody who's a regular visitor to the northeast, as I am. Always enjoying my trips to the northeast. Yet to go to the Echo Arena, so maybe I'll do so next season. Let's take another look at those gate stats, and it will just underline what I've been saying about how even spread it is. 3 wins off gate number 1 and 14 points, 2 wins off gate number 2 and 11 points, 1 win off gate number 3, but a handy 12 points there, and 2 wins and 11 points off gate number 4. So it continues to have an even spread. You can see Danny King and Ace Pijper back at the pit gate waiting. Mark Phillips is heading back over from off the track as we wait to see as and when we might get a resumption here at the Coliseum. As I say, fingers crossed it's not too long a wait. So the track presenter just continuing to try and get a good atmosphere created here. Mark is behind our commentary position here. He's just going to have a check of Tobias Thompson and just check on his well-being as we wait to find out where we're going to go from here. So just a reminder that Tobias Thompson has been excluded from this heat number 9 when we eventually get it going. So there will only be 3 riders, of which 2 of which will be of Redcar Bears persuasion. So Alfie BOWTELL, who was doing everything he could to hold off Danny King, is going to have to do it all again, and his job is twice as hard as he doesn't have a teammate this time. As we try to take a look inside the Plymouth pits as I can. You can see Scott Nicholls looking into the Redcar pits area. You can see a few of the mechanics taking a long look at Tobias Thompson's bike. Just try to get that one back serviceable, hopefully for later on. We keep our fingers crossed that that will be the case. And we continue to wait. I'm not sure if that kickboard has been replaced or whether or not it has now been deemed safe or not, but there's been a real lull in activity here at the Coliseum at the moment. The gate at the far end has been open, so I'm not sure if we're going to get some track grading going on as well. I'm a little bit in the dark myself here, just trying to work out what's going on. Now the gate's being closed again on that far side as we wait to find out when we will get a resumption. Of course, at the moment, Tobias Thompson is being looked at by the medics on track. Here I can see Scott Nicholls in conversation with Mark Phillips behind the gantry here. Danny King is there as well. As we can see the bar bandits. Now, where have they all gone? Because there was a lot more of them over there. Either that or they're now spread out. Jacket goes on over there. It's definitely jacket weather now. The sun has disappeared. I think they're all sat down, you know. I think they've all started bringing their own chairs now, and I think they're all taking the weight off their feet at the moment. Just trying to rest up as we have this break. Go and get some refreshment top-ups. And we will now await, as I say, just to find out when we're going to get back going. Apologies for the delay at home. We will resume as and when we are able to here at the Coliseum. Unfortunately, these sorts of incidents are something we're well accustomed to at the moment. We had an action-packed night last week, as you've seen race footage from already. One of the more memorable meetings in recent times down here at the Coliseum. That 46-44 win over the Pirates 3 times. I don't have access to all the results we've had against the Pirates, but I would have to think it's an unprecedented hat-trick against the Pirates at home since the rivalry was ignited a few years ago. Maximus comes across the start-finish line. He's still able to plough around the racetrack as he gives a wave to those in the NHS stand. Let's see if we can get a wave off Maximus. He's looking the other way. He's not interested in my wave. Gets away from the hospitality crew instead. As he heads round, try to wake up the bar bandits. They've definitely headed in for, I suspect at this stage it'll be cups of tea and things. The Colin Hill stand's still well populated, as is Ben's 1 and 2. Can't stress enough just how good a crowd there is in tonight. Not as warm as it was last week. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to give you some more bad news at home. Larry has just announced to the crowd here at the Coliseum that now Tobias Thompson has also withdrawn from proceedings. I said to Barry Bishop that if the Gladiators didn't have bad luck, they'd have no luck at all. Well, I am going to have to try and collar Garry May at some point later on this evening and just, well, put my arm around him and maybe buy him a stiff drink, because everything is being thrown their way at the moment, and now they've even had 2 guests have to withdraw through injury. So we send our very best wishes to Tobias Thompson and Declan Kennedy. Hope their injuries are nothing too serious. Hope that they will be in good shape to continue on for whatever fixtures they have left in their season. Of course, Tobias Thompson very firmly in the Pool Pirates plans, and they have plenty left to race for. So we're gonna wait and see. Are we gonna get a comeback from Mark Phillips? Is that possible? I can see Mark Simmons down here by the pit gate. He was a very handy rider round the Coliseum back in the day in the 2-tone blue shirt, just talking to a member of track staff. When I first started coming to the Coliseum, Mark was nigh on unbeatable around this place. He used to fly around as if it was a Scalextrics track. Might need him to do a job at some point this year, but with just one home fixture to go next week, home to the Berwick Bandits next week, and then the Gladiators will go to the Bandits in early September to round off the campaign this year. A campaign that hasn't been devoid of memories. Obviously, even in the BSN series, the Gladiators weren't pushovers, giving it everything they had, beating Poole at home, tough clashes with Oxford, as there often are. You can see the track staff are now migrating down towards the entrance to the back straight, so there is a bit of action going on over there at the moment. But as I say, I'm just in the dark a little bit as to how long this pause in action is going to be, but once we find out when we're going to get back going, we will let you know. You can see Lee Trigger by the pit gate as well. He's on spannering duty for Jason Edwards tonight. Get a nice thumbs up for from Lee Trigger and a nice little wave to the camera. Lee's birthday this week, so happy birthday to Lee. Made sure he enjoyed his evening, I can promise you that. A man who was formerly a team manager down here, of course, with the Plymouth Devils. Very much enjoyed that responsibility. And is an all-round good guy. Lee Trigger. We've got some music now to my right, which will be a great relief to all involved, and the lights are back on in the hospitality tent. As we still await to find out how long we've got here before we get underway. I do apologise for those of you who are now bored of my voice, but as I say, I am on my own tonight. Oh my gosh, we got a 2-minute time allowance on. Hell's bells. A 2 minutes time allowance has been put on by referee Chris Gay, and we will soon get back underway. So we have only 3 riders, as mentioned, 2 Redcar Bears and Alfie BOWTELL. The Gladiators skipper has to do it on his own here. And we are going to get some racing back underway. That 2-minute time allowance surprised me somewhat then. I wasn't expecting it. But the crowd are still in, they're not going anywhere. And let's take your revised lineup for the 3rd running of heat number 9. And off the inside in blue is Alfie BOWTELL. Off gate number 2 in white is Danny King, who still has that warning in place. No rider off gate number 3 with Tobias THOMSEN withdrawing from the meeting. And off the outside in yellow is Ace Pijper. So Alfie BOWTELL, captain for the evening, it's very much over to you here. The Gladiators could do with a welcome change of luck as we prepare to get racing back underway. So Alfie will come off gate number 1, Danny King off gate number 2. There'll be an empty box in gate 3. In gate 4 will be Ace Pijper, who, providing he completes, will get his first point of the evening. As we now wait, Alfie and Danny will be the last 2 into line. Ace Pijper is eager, he is ready to go. You can see Garry May scribbling away on his programme at the end of the riders viewing area here. As I say, penny for his thoughts at the moment, but the green light is on. Tapes rise and away we go. Can Alfie BOWTELL keep ahead of Danny King? It's tight between the 2 of them. Danny King's going to keep it high and wide. Alfie BOWTELL is going to keep him out though. Danny King is going to have to go wider than he's gone all night. He keeps it wound on. Danny King around the outside. What a move by the Redcar Bears number 5. Alfie BOWTELL did as much as he could, but Danny King used all his experience and kept it wound on and got himself to the front. And he is now stretching his legs and pulling away from Alfie BOWTELL. 3rd is Ace Pijper, but with a lap to go, Danny King has brought us out some brilliant moves here tonight, and he is really starting to attack the Coliseum and is away and gone out front. So as he comes round to take the checkered flag, it will be Danny King who will get the win in white, a second in blue for Alfie BOWTELL, and a third in yellow, and a first point on the evening for Ace Pijper. But Danny King, what a move that was. And when the Gladiators were up against it already, they are even more so now. The Bears stretch their lead to 6 points on the night. 53.69 is the winning time. And here is your classified result then for heat number 9. And it's a win in white for Danny King, second in blue for Alfie BOWTELL, a third in yellow is Ace Pijper, and unfortunately, as we said, Tobias THOMSEN has withdrawn from the meeting following that awful incident there in heat number 9. So it's now a 6 point deficit on the night. The Gladiators are in tactical sub territory if they want to use it. And we're going to be straight on with heat number 10, but let's take the replay. Let's see if we can see this move again from Danny King. Alfie BOWTELL is strong towards the inside. Danny King thinks about taking the high line. Alfie tries to close him off, but watch this from Danny King. Goes wider than he's gone before and just keeps his, if he was in a car, he'd keep his foot to the floor, but he keeps the engine wound on and manages to get round the outside. So we are going to get a tactical sub here, which is also forming as rider replacement. So Scott Nicholls will be out in blue in heat number 10. I'm delighted to say Barry Bishop has joined me again. I sort of put the mockers on it earlier, didn't I, when I said that it wasn't going to be as quiet as it was last week?
Oh, I know, it's been a bit hectic, and let me tell you, changing those bags are not an easy job. But still, did it quick enough.
Absolutely. Let's take your lineup then for heat number 10. Off the inside in blue, taking that tactical sub rider replacement rider is Scott Nicholls. Gate number 2 in yellow is Kerr. Gate number 3 in red is Zaine KENNEDY. Off the outside in white, we've already heard from him once tonight, is the very chipper Jason Edwards, and he will be delighted to see the Redcar Bears stretching their legs now. They very much got themselves in front. Aggregate bonus point is just about done, and they will now go in search of the extra 2 points, which will have a maximum 5 point haul across the 2 fixtures. And we'll talk at the end of this race, Barry, about the bad luck that continues to befall the Gladiators. It's incredible, isn't it?
I know, they've been really unlucky. It's just a nightmare situation, but we plod on. Let's see what we can do.
We certainly do, and let's hope that Scott Nicholls and Zaine KENNEDY can pull this one out of the fire and get the Gladiators back in it on the night. So here we go as we get ready for heat number 10. The start marshal moves out the whoa, Louis Kerr with bike issues. I'm not quite sure what's happened there. His bike is packed up on the start line, and Zaine KENNEDY flies around the outside of Scott Nicholls. And this is exactly what Garry May would have wanted, the Gladiators on a maximum.
Yeah, it's great to see them flying around now. Hopefully they can continue it. They just need to team ride a bit now, stop him from coming through. Hopefully they can do that. It's good to see Nicholls out the front and KENNEDY following in behind him. And again, there's now a single line, so I think all being well, we should go home and dry now. These 2 boys away in the lead. So all they've got to do now is start on for the last 200 or so metres, and then we're home and dry.
Absolutely, Zaine KENNEDY shows away from Scott Nicholls with Jason Edwards back in 3rd place. The Gladiators needed a door opening. They needed a way back into the fixture, and they've absolutely got it here. A maximum for the Gladiators in heat number 10. That raises the roof. That wakes everybody back up. Zaine KENNEDY and Scott Nicholls doing the business.
Yeah, it's great to see, and I think that's the first thing Zaine's done all evening, really, isn't it? So it's great to see him going so well and getting the 5-1 when we most needed it.
Absolutely, and what an intelligent ride by Scott Nicholls as well. He allowed Zaine KENNEDY to go around his outside. He was the one who guided him home. Let's take your classified result of heat number 10, 54.12, and it's a win in red for Zaine KENNEDY, second in blue, Scott Nicholls, a third in white for Jason Edwards. Louis Kerr's race was over as soon as the tapes rose. He went nowhere. The Gladiators went somewhere.
Yeah, it looks like a clutch issue that he had, actually, because his back wheel's locked.
Yeah, he rolls forward and then the bike goes nowhere.
Yeah, definitely.
So exactly what Garry May needed, a change of fortune for Garry. He said last week that if the Speedway gods could shine on him, he needed it late in the meeting against Poole. He better get on that. He better get praying now that they're going to be listening to him again.
I think he must have been on the good luck phone somewhere along the line, because he needed that badly. So now we're just 2 down again, and we got the chance to turn this meeting around.
Absolutely, and it is an even meeting, even with all the Gladiators issues. As we've already touched upon, well, yourself and the rest of the track team were trying to get the sound working in one corner and the boards and the air fences fixed in another. The Gladiators' bad luck is bad enough that they lose their own riders, and now they're losing guest riders having to withdraw as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's just
it is just terrible luck, isn't it? And we send our best wishes to Tobias and Declan especially, both involved in pretty nasty incidents.
Yeah, and especially as they stood in for us, really last minute due to the incidents last night. So yeah, we wish them all the best, and let's hope to see them back racing soon. I hope it's nothing too serious.
Absolutely. We are going to have a reserve switch here in heat number 11. Kai Ward is going to come out in blue, but we are just going to have a little bit of extra time because Scott Nicholls is taking 2 on the trot. So 29.31. If you're not sick of my voice already, you soon will be, as we have this little pause. We can see Maximus in conversation with some of the track staff. That air fence panel is going to need a bit of TLC, isn't it? Yeah,
well, I mean, you should give the track staff a bit of a shout out actually, because changing them is a nightmare. And what happens for those that think, oh, why can't they just unzip it in 1 second? Well, what happens is the shale gets on the zips. The zips are really thick ones, like on a tent, and shale sets like concrete. And so to get it off, you have to really chisel off the old shale, lubricate everything, and hope that the zip runs clearly. They've got this little plastic flaps over the top as well, which invariably go hard after a period of time. So they are an absolute nightmare to get off. So anyway, the guys did really, really well, pretty swift. And if we have any more, we'll be breaking the record for doing them, because we need to be getting good at it now.
Absolutely. They're a very fickle bunch, these Bar Bandits. They were nowhere to be seen before that 5-1. You wait till I get over there after this meeting. Straight out now after that 5-1, back to a 2-point deficit. The riders are out onto the track then for heat number 11. They're so keen, Chris Gay hasn't even put the 2-minute time allowance on. Now he has, so a fresh 2 minutes. So Scott, you can take your time, no need to rush at the moment. And Scott Nicholls will try his best to keep Charles Wright at bay here. Charles Wright has managed to get to heat 11 of a fixture, and he's yet to get a win on the board.
Oh,
so
well,
he will be eager,
yeah, definitely,
to get his name on the score sheet here.
And what gates Scotty off to? So,
Scott will be alongside Charles Wright, 1 and 2 for the stars of the show, with Jody SCOTT and Kai Ward in a good battle to come off gates 3 and 4. Jody SCOTT is obviously someone himself who's having a good year in the National League for the Kings Lynn side. So here is your lineup for heat number 11. Off the inside in white is Charles Wright. Gate number 2 in red is Scott Nicholls, busy boy tonight and racking up the points. Gate number 3 in yellow, Jody SCOTT, who's looked good this evening, on the pace as much as he can be. And off the outside in blue is Kai Ward. So heat number 11, we're into the twilight of the fixture. The lights are beginning to take effect, but the crowd have stuck around, and we've got the highlight of the evening to come shortly in the shape of the kids race. Now on my way in, I still haven't seen the dog. I don't know whether the dog has been banned after winning it a few weeks ago.
The dog, that's true, yeah.
Fingers crossed the dog is also not operating rider replacement tonight.
Probably, yeah. Everybody else seems to be at the minute.
So the 2-minute time allowance is still on. The green light will soon go on once Scott Nicholls is in place, and Kai Ward is the last one into line. The start marshal checks them over, gives them the green light. Chris Gay puts the lights on, and they're sent on their way. Charles Wright lifts. That allows Scott Nicholls to come over the top of him, and if Charles Wright wasn't frustrated enough already that he hasn't got a win on his belt, he's now got to get around Scott Nicholls, who shows them the way, goes high to generate some speed and keeps it wound on.
Charles Wright's going to be pushed in like you wouldn't believe. As you say, he's not happy tonight. He's not got a win yet, and he's got to keep up. He's going to take in the high line now. He's going to try and copy Danny King. Now he's coming up the inside, but Scotty knows it. Scotty's an experienced guy, and he's flying around. It's really, really tight up there at the minute. Again, he's going up on the top line. I think he's cut back now. He's cut back. Here he comes, diving up the inside.
This is going to be a really good battle between Scott Nicholls and Charles Wright. Hold on to your hats, folks. Scott Nicholls goes wide off ends 2. Charles Wright is going to try and chop back up the inside on the run to the line. Scott Nicholls with a win.
Absolutely brilliant. Well done, Scotty. That was a great race.
Oh, what a brilliant race between Scott Nicholls and Charles Wright. No quarter ass, none given. They've served up an absolute treat. It's only a 3-all, but frankly, who cares?
Well, it's a 3-all that keeps us just 2 behind, so it's really important that we keep not losing any heat advantage right now, because we're coming to the big boy races in a minute.
Absolutely. Scott Nicholls with 53.29 was his winning time. He takes the win in red, at second in white for Charles Wright. Third in yellow for Jody SCOTT, who continues his good night, and a fourth at the back for Kai Ward. Apologies to Jody SCOTT and Kai Ward for not pointing out their rides. All our eyes were very firmly on what was happening at the front of this race, and Scott Nicholls showing there is very much still fire burning in that belly.
Oh yeah, it's fire burning in that team, believe you me. They want to win tonight. I was in the pits earlier and before the meeting, and that's the plan, is to win. We've had more bad luck, but we had bad luck last week as well, so let's see what we can do.
Let's see it here. You can see Jody SCOTT, to be fair to him, he's trying to get involved in the battle. He's really impressed me tonight as Jody's. But this is where you're going to see now Charles Wright. He just starts to drift that little bit wider every time he goes into the bends to get that speed. At this point, I'm thinking Scott Nicholls has probably got his measure. But in a minute, Charles Wright, you can see him there. This is where he gets the bit between his teeth.
That's right, because Scotty comes down low every lap, and Charles is going wider and wider. There's still a little bit of grip on the inside, and you see Charles now going up the hill, up and trying to go around. Now he's going to cut back inside him, and this is that was just
right up against the fence,
honestly,
wasn't it?
I mean, wow. I mean, Scott really just gave everything in that race. You can see that what it means to him, actually, to be fair. And he's really going well tonight, and he's got a big role to play.
Absolutely, and unsurprisingly, obviously with Tobias THOMSEN being out of the clash, Alfie BOWTELL will come out in red. So if Alfie was feeling a little bit second-hand from his incidents here 2 weeks ago and his incidents in grass track, he's certainly giving it absolutely everything once again for the Gladiators. Not that you would doubt any of this Gladiator team giving everything, because they've put their bodies on the line and more in recent weeks.
Yeah, definitely. And we should give actually Kai Ward a bit of shout out there. He's a national trophy rider, and he wasn't that far off the pace in that one. He was really close. So congratulations to him. He needs to keep going and keep doing that and improving week on week, because that's what we want to see.
And of course, Kai is guaranteed at least one more ride, because he will have to take Declan Kennedy's ride in heat number 14 with Declan withdrawing from the clash, where he might renew acquaintances with Ace Pijper.
Well, on Wednesday at Kingston, he got a 5-1 with Charlie Southwick in heat 14, so let's see if he can repeat it.
Maybe I'll let you go just before heat 14 and you can go and tell him that.
Exactly, yeah, I'll go down and give him a brief in a minute. Yeah, get him on.
So 20 points on the aggregate. I think, unfortunately, we can say that is very firmly heading to Redcar, which will only solidify their playoff charge. Let's take a look at what is happening at Ashfield as we see what is going on up there in Scotland. Glasgow, of course, taking on Edinburgh. Glasgow have also lost Max Perry this evening. He's had to withdraw in his third ride, but Glasgow are comfortably ahead of the Oxford Cheetahs, 51.33, as they head into heat 15 up there north of the border. So this result, along with Oxford getting a heavy beating up at Glasgow, is only going to solidify Redcar's place in that fourth spot. Yeah. Which will be music to their ears.
Yeah, especially if they win today, which of course we hope that they don't, but it will solidify their position into the playoff spots, so yeah.
Absolutely, and for the second week running, Cammy Brown is going to become the most passionate Plymouth Gladiators fan.
Very true. Yeah.
He will have been desperate for us to beat the Pirates, which we did last week, and he will be desperate that the Gladiators can take vital points off the Redcar Bears here. Heat 12 is sponsored by the Bar Bandits, who have woken up. As I say, I'll be having stern words with them a little bit later on. Here is your lineup for heat number 12. And we do have both Gladiators reserves out here. Off the inside in yellow is Jake Mulford. Off gate number 2 in red will be Alfie BOWTELL, replacing the withdrawn Tobias THOMSEN. Gate number 3 in white is Jason Edwards, and off the outside in blue will be Kai Ward as he makes his way round now. So Kai gets into place. He will be hoping to get amongst it here and to try and help out his stand-in skipper for the evening.
He's been gating pretty well lately, Kai has to. Let's hope he can produce one now. and see if he can get over and at least disturb everybody else, if not get some points himself.
That's one thing I will say about Kai tonight, is he's not been left standing at the tapes at all across the course of the evening. He's been getting out of the traps.
He's rode very well.
He has.
Again, he's just been dropped in at the deep end, really, so yesterday and today.
Yeah.
But he's going good. He deserves his spot, and I'm pretty proud of him as well.
Exactly. It's a good opportunity for the young man to showcase his ability on the bike.
Yep.
Jake Mulford and Jason Edwards will be tough nuts to crack, though, for the Gladiators reserve pairings.
Yeah, that's true.
Alfie BOWTELL, as is often the way, the last one into line. Start Marshall will check them over and he will move out of the way. Chris Gay puts the green lights on. We're all ready for heat number 12 and away they go. Jake Mulford and Alfie BOWTELL are tight. Going into bend one, Jason Edwards is going to keep it wound on around the outside. It's perfect for the Redcar Bears. Alfie BOWTELL had to shut off. He couldn't thread the eye of Anido, but Alfie's going to throw it wide to try and get around the outside of Jake Mulford. It's not to be on this occasion, but he'll keep trying.
He's got to keep going right, come up the hill every lap if he can to try and push round Mulford. They won't go around him down there. He needs to go up the hill for sure. They keep coming around, but it looks like 1-2 for Redcar Bears. They're very comfy in a minute. Jason Edwards has a lovely start out in front, to be fair. And now we need Alfie to push up again. I think he's just following the line for the minute. We could do them going up higher.
He's got one lap to try and do something here, the Gladiator skipper. This time he sends it wide. He tries to get the wheels in line. He might have left himself a little bit too much to do. Jason Edwards is going to get his first win of the night, and he's going to be followed around by the ever-impressive Jake Mulford, who continues to catch the eye on the evening. It's a vital Redcar 5-1 that just restores their gap on the evening.
Yeah.
Jason Edwards, who's been long overdue a heat win here tonight, finally gets it in heat number 12. And for Redcar, just what the doctor ordered with 3 to go.
Yep, that was a shame, but it's putting them back now, 6 up in front, so the boys have got some work to do. The final 3 heats, but that's when the big boys come out, hopefully, to race against their higher order riders, so they're the ones that should be able to do it. However, of course, we've got Mr. Kennedy's out, isn't he?
We do. So
yeah.
Heat number 12 result in the win in white for Jason Edwards. Second in yellow was Jake Mulford. Third in red, Alfie BOWTELL, and a last place for Kai Wood. 33-39 on the night. We have reached heat number 12. Let's take the replay. I do believe we might be in kids race territory very soon. But as we see the start marshal move out of the way, it was a dream start for Jason Edwards off gate number 3. He was followed through by Jake Mulford towards the inside, and Alfie BOWTELL just had to shut off going down that back straight. But it wasn't to be. He tried to keep it on there, but Jake Mulford really intelligent there, just drifting off that inside, which shut off any chance then of Alfie coming up around that outside. And that was all she wrote for the Redcar Bears, the perfect result for them. As we can see Mark flying around on the track there, and I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the most anticipated race of the night is almost upon us. The children are massing by the start line, but let's take a look at your gate stats, and once again it is an even spread. This choice in heat number 15 is going to be very difficult for the Gladiators. 3 wins off the inside with 22 points, 4 wins off gate 2 with 18 points, 3 wins off gate 3 with 19 points, and 2 wins with 13 points off gate number 4. So Mark continues to do his track work, and now you can see the crowds are amassing towards the pit gate here. I'm on dog watch, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who are new to Gladiators TV, a fortnight ago we had a dog win the kids race. A few weeks before that, the dog did win the kids race, but by cutting across the infield, but he was a legitimate winner of the kids race a few weeks ago. And we will wait to see if we have any canine participants there. Tell you what, this might be the most populated kids race of the season here, because the cheerleaders are going to take part as well, and they're being asked to line up all the way down the home straight, and there are quite a few of them, and they are still making their way round from the back straight if that is where they're positioned. So as we've said, the Gladiators doing all they can to promote it as a family atmosphere here. As we see a bit more track grading, Scott Nicholls and Zaine Kennedy down at the pit gate. Just having a little look at what's going on. Children are ready to be called forward. Mark Simmons is down there at the pit gate. I can see Charles Wright taking a look as well. Still without a win so far, Charles Wright, which is very, very much unlike him. And he has to go up against Scott Nicholls again in Heat 13, of course, and I would imagine Heat 15. I don't imagine there's too much doubt about that. As they continue with their track work, we aren't going to be too far away from the best race of the night. Those of you who are new to Gladiators TV, I don't commentate on the kids' race because I don't do names. I don't know who they are, but we will keep our eye out for our four-legged friend to see if they make it. I don't imagine that Mark Simmons and Scott Nicholls, who are in conversation at the pit gate, are going to take part. Although I did hear that Chris Harris took part in the Glasgow kids race the other day and actually won it. So
Was that for his 100th appearance?
I think it was, yeah. I think he was challenged to do it and then went and beat all the kids. But as I say, I don't imagine that either Mark Simmons or Scott Nicholls will be taking part. So we've got the 50-50 draw being done at the moment. So 33-39 then, Barry. 3 races to go. We know that Scott Nicholls is definitely getting 2 more rides.
Yeah.
But where his partner comes from in Heat 15 at the moment is obviously up in the air because of what the Gladiators have got left. But what do you think Garry May will be saying to his riders at the moment?
I think he'll be. Everyone's going to be thinking about the riders that we've lost, and so we've got to say we're going to win it for them, type thing. That we can still do this because we can. We've got 3 more races to go. We're only 6 down, and we have to go in and with an attitude of we will win, rather than we're just making up the track time. So you've got to go in and expect your riders to do well still, regardless of whoever you put out. I think Kai's had all of his rides now, so I imagine Alfie's going to get another couple of rides for sure. Whether he goes out in Heat 15 with Scott or not, I don't know. And of course, I don't know who's going to be going in 13 in place of Kennedy.
Well, I think Zaine will ride.
Oh, Zaine will ride, okay.
It's Declan.
Oh, Declan's
the one who's out. So Zaine will be out in 13. I would presume if they can follow each other around and get a 5-1. Here are the rider scores. Zaine Kennedy's got 4 from 3. Tobias THOMSEN has withdrawn with 8 from 4. Declan Kennedy withdrawn 1 from 2. Scott Nicholls 12 paid 13 from 5. He has at least 2 more to go, so he will have 7 rides tonight. Alfie BOWTELL will only have 1 more ride. He's got 7 from 6. Kai Ward will get 1 more ride. He's got 1 from 4. For the Redcar Bears, as I say, Charles Wright without a win so far, 5 paid 6. Jody SCOTT 4 paid 5 for him. Jason Edwards was 6. Louis Kerr 6 from 3. Danny King 8 from 3. Jake Mulford 9 paid 11 from 4. Ace Pijper with 1. What catches my eye there, Barry, is it's quite even between race winners.
Yeah.
Between the 2 teams, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, but also if you look, I think Jake Mulford's had an incredible night.
Absolutely.
9 plus 2.
Yeah, really catching the eye tonight, Jake Mulford.
Yeah, so it's just 1 off the maximum. So, but I think Gary's got to go with in 15 with Zaine and Nicholls, and I think he'll have to bring Alfie into 14.
Yes.
That's his only options.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he can do anything else, can he? Because Alfie's already programmed to come in 14 anyway.
Right,
so,
okay, yeah. Alfie and Kai.
That tricky decision I was saying is actually very easy for Garry, unfortunately. But that is unfortunately where we are at with the Gladiators at the moment. As much as we try, and the promotion here at Plymouth have tried absolutely everything this year, and it's just great to see another big crowd in, Barry, isn't it? I mean, it was a huge crowd last week, great atmosphere, and it's another good crowd tonight, and I can promise you, if they get a 5-1 here in 13, the atmosphere will only get bigger.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It will be, and just deserves as well. If we can just manage in that would be fantastic. But I think, they've been royally entertained tonight, even with the problems that we've had, and I don't think we did too bad on changing the air fence and keeping the meeting flowing, so now we just have to round these last 3 heats out, and hopefully we get a 5-1 in 13, see where we play up in 14, and then 5-1 again in the last one.
Just been announced by Larry, by the way, the racing will resume as soon as track grading is over. So if you are tuning in to see who wins the penultimate children's race of the year in the Gladiator season, you're going to have to wait until after Heat 15. And as I say, I don't commentate on them, so the children will have to wait a little bit longer before they can get out onto the Coliseum racetrack. That will come after Heat 15, but they will not be going anywhere, because having been here as a youngster back in the day, the children's race is absolutely one of the main attractions of coming to the Coliseum.
The children's race is a great thing. It's quite interesting, actually. Mark saw this on the Isle of Wight and said, "Oh, shall we bring it? Do you mind if we bring it? You should do it everywhere. Every stadium should be doing a kids' race. Get them on the track, get them running around, and get them part of the action. Just to feel the shale under your foot. It feels different to anything else you've walked on, and you can run around the place where your heroes are riding around." So, yeah.
Let's talk about the youngsters, because whilst we're on the topic of the children's race and the youngsters, we saw a collection of the stars of the future a little bit earlier on. We had the little Pee-wee riders going round. We also had Ezra and was it George going round on the track. What a great initiative that is, to have the young stars of the future.
That's right, and there's a reason why we've always done that on the Isle of Wight, and there's a reason why we're going to do it here from now on, is that we want little Tommy in the stand to see Isla on the Pee-wee, and I want little Tommy to say to his dad, "Hey, I'll go on one of those bikes," and that's how it all starts. And then Isla gets inspired then by a 125 rider, then 125 rider wants the 500, and so that you then have the pyramid of riders for the future. And by doing it now, by making them wave to the crowds, going and run across here in the applause, you're making them love it. And I just think it's a great thing to do.
Absolutely. And we also had Axel BOWTELL
out
there today. Dad looked very proud.
Dad looked very, very proud as well. He was whizzing around, and I'm sure he's going to be a superstar of the future. So he already loves being on his bike, and he loves being on the Speedway track. So hopefully we can keep him going, keep him here at Plymouth doing stuff and coming to the schools either at the Isle of Wight or here at Plymouth.
Who knows, one day we might see Axel BOWTELL versus Cruz Harris in a British final.
Beaten by Isla Gannon.
Exactly. We will all be at the National Speedway Stadium to see it.
That's right, yeah, that would be just
fantastic.
And
we will be able to say we saw the day that Axel BOWTELL made his Coliseum debut.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we're really passionate about, is also women in Speedway. We had the British Ladies Championship on the Isle of Wight last week, and we want to encourage more and more women and girls to take part. And then, they are doing the kids race.
I was going to say they're doing this kids race, and Scott Nicholls is coming out.
Oh,
he's thought about it and decided against it.
Yeah.
So they've changed the running order around again. So we are now going to have the children's race. This seems to be getting even more popular week by week. I mean, I actually think tonight may be our biggest entrant.
I think you could be right there. I mean, it's always very, very popular. The kids just love it, and it's just part of being on a Speedway night is you run around the track. I mean, look how many's going out. There must be 100 there.
Definitely, and as I said, what a great job yourself, Mark, everybody down here at Plymouth has done to make this such a good family night out down here at Plymouth Speedway. The weather's often been quite nice this year. We've been blessed on home fixtures. Obviously, we lost the Redcar clash earlier in the year, but it's a wonderful way to spend a few hours, isn't it, down here at the Coliseum, because of all the action you get. And it's not always with the drama of the crashes like we've had the last fortnight. The racing here at Plymouth this year has been well above and beyond what we've had in recent years. Yeah,
it's been really, really good here this year. And to be honest, that the sunshine on the coast, same as us on the island, is a bit of a double-edged sword because they go to the beach, right? But the crowds here every week seem to have grown to me. Yeah. And if you can look at how many kids are on that start line, that is definitely the biggest one we've done. And
dog.
The dog is here.
I saw a dog.
Ooh.
I definitely saw a four-legged animal. I'm sure I did.
Could have been twins.
Either that, or I'm so blinded by thinking there's a dog going to take part in the race that I might have thought about it. But I'm pretty sure I've seen the dog. We'll wait and see. But you are right. The crowds have been up. There's been a lot more families in the building this year as they're sent on their way in the children's race. One of the cheerleaders shows the way as they head into bends 1 and 2, and she's opened up a good gap. I'm looking for the star of the show, but I think I might have got it wrong. I don't think there is a dog.
No. I mean, it's quite interesting that they run around here on the Isle of Wight. We're 385 metres. It's on a running track, and It's some of them coming in like quite exhausted, but they all love it. They all want to participate in it, and this is just fantastic. I mean, the whole track is covered with kids now.
I'm pretty sure that when Glasgow do their kids race, they don't actually run the circumference of the track, they just run the infield.
Oh, really? Okay.
One length of the infield. Apologies to everybody at home if you're excited about seeing the dog. I've definitely dreamt of the dog running this year's race, this week's race. So
I think that might have been a track record as well. That was pretty quick, right?
It was a quick children's race. 2 of the cheerleaders have given up. They're just going to have a wander, and
she does have her pom-poms, so maybe she's pom-pomming it around.
We also have a youngster who's going to complete in his own time.
That's just
which is great to see. They continue to make their way round. A few of the parents have got round as well, which is great to see. And let's hope they've enjoyed their Speedway experience tonight and say, let's do that again next week.
And of course, the other good thing about doing this is parents take photographs, right? And parents
Absolutely.
put photographs
memories,
on Facebook, and Facebook tags in the Speedway. So it's all about growing the footprint of those that come here, and this is just one great way of doing it.
And one thing the Gladiators have done exceptionally well this year is growing the social media presence. Yep. The watch-along that some of you may well be doing right now live on the Gladiators Facebook page, getting involved in the comments there.
Yep.
You know, the club is... I said it last week in conversations to a few people, it's grown exponentially, I feel, in the last 12 months. We've gone leaps and bounds. And what is a club that people like to bash with a stick online is not the club that we're seeing week in, week out. This is a totally different club to the one that's the perception. We had Jason Edwards up here earlier, and I asked him about the difference between most tracks, the Redcars, the Berwicks, the long straights, the Glasgows, those sweeping banked turns, and then you come here, and last year Simon Lambert referred to it as going around under the dustbin lid. You're always turning left, and Jason said, well, he thinks he was having a bit of a dig at the time, and he said British Speedway needs a track like Plymouth because it tests the riders on different levels to what they're used to.
Exactly.
He's just getting to the brow of bends 3 and 4. We'll come back to that point in a minute, Barry, but we want this little lad to finish. And he's going to beat the cheerleaders. He's not going to be the last one home. He's waving to the crowd. They're still coming across the start-finish line.
He's going to do it, isn't he?
He is going to do it. It's almost like the London Marathon,
he's going to have a sprint on at the end as well, I think.
Here he comes. 20 metres to go and a wave to the crowd.
See, he's been watching the Pee-wee riders milking the crowd, like I've been telling them.
And there he is.
Brilliant.
And a round of applause from the NHS stand as he finishes as well, which is great to see. Brilliant to see so many families here tonight and so many kids taking part in the kids' race. Going back to that point, though, what Jason said, that British Speedway needs a club like Plymouth and a track like Plymouth to test every rider that comes here. Yeah,
it's just a totally different way of riding a Speedway bike. It's not a track where you can sit and ride like Lee Adams did in the armchair, like they do on the bigger tracks, the big smooth tracks in Poland. And here you have to earn your money. Yeah. And it's totally different to most other tracks. It's small, tight and technical. And that's a great thing to have in the league.
Absolutely. And what struck me doing the last couple of meetings here on Gladiators TV is when we've been hearing from riders, particularly 1 or 2 of the guests. I mean, last week, Kai Thompson was very strong in his praise for how the track's improved this year, and how much he's enjoyed coming down to the Coliseum with the atmosphere, and the fans are right on top of you. It feels, for an opposition rider, it probably feels a very difficult place to come now.
Yeah, it's like a cauldron.
It is. In Speedway, you're not used to it. That's the sort of thing you attribute to European football and European rugby and things. But it's great that here at Plymouth, it's almost like a siege mentality and us against the world. We're going to prove you all wrong, and we're going to give people the best night out.
That's right. And to be fair to Mark, he's providing a night out of pure entertainment, really.
Absolutely.
It's whether it's the dancing girls or the kids running race, or the good food and stuff like that, and just the entertainment level has really increased this year. And I think him and all of his volunteers can be justly proud of the job that they're doing, because they're doing a good job, and it's proven by people coming through the gate week in, week out. And it's not just holiday makers, it's people that we see every week.
Definitely. And of course the last couple of weeks, as has been the case in a few occasions, that the club have offered season ticket discounts for Plymouth Argyle. Season ticket holders could get in for £5 off, and today they extended it to Torquay United and Exeter City season ticket holders to try and get more people in from the West Country, and I think that was a really, really smart initiative.
Exactly.
Particularly when you saw the fixtures that all those clubs had.
Yeah, exactly, because they're away today, so
yeah.
If you're a season ticket holder, well, you may go and watch your side away, of course, but if you're staying around, why not come and try Speedway?
Absolutely. So here's your lineup for heat number 13, the showcase race of the night, and off the inside in red is Zaine KENNEDY. Gate number 2 in white is Charles Wright. Gate number 3 in blue, Scotty Nicholls, and off the outside in yellow is Danny King. And this is where the Gladiators, I said it around this time last week, if ever they needed a maximum, it's heat 13.
It's heat 13, we need it.
As the wind picks up, I've lost my pen, although I've given up on the programme now because I've lost all my light. So I'm going to get myself a head torch next year, Barry.
Oh, that's a good idea.
For this stage of the season. But we get ready. We got one more week next week. I might just strap a torch to my head next week.
Well, you could always write to Santa, can't you?
I could. As Danny King tries to bring some of that material from the outside to pack into his start gate. This always amazes me, the preparation these riders go to.
Yeah, I know. They're trying to get the best possible start, and it's critical to now.
Absolutely.
Race. It's, they want to be first out of the gate, try and
the one who
control the race.
seems most laid back is Scott Nicholls.
Yeah.
Charles Wright and Danny King furiously trying to sort out their start gates. Zaine KENNEDY the same off gate number 1. Gates 1 and 2 have been the place to be tonight, although a spread of points suggests just how well prepared this track is this evening. Here we go, it's a key heat number 13 in the context of this Cab Direct Championship fixture. The green lights are on, the tape's rising, away we go. Scott Nicholls has made it. Zaine KENNEDY's trying to keep it to the inside, he's kept Danny King behind him. Now Charles Wright is trying to hunt down Scott Nicholls, but Zaine KENNEDY is hot on his tail, and with 3 laps to go, it's set up to be a cracker.
Now we want Zaine to catch up with Charles Wright. We really do, he's got to push up. Scott's got to also run right defensively because Charles will always go up high. He's going up high again, trying to cut back. But we need Zaine to get moving now. He's got to come quicker and he's got to get around him. No, it's going to be... Scott Nicholls is going really wide to find the dirt, which is great for stopping Charles Wright coming up underneath him. Yeah.
Here we go, a lap to go. Charles Wright has it all to do to hunt down Scott Nicholls. It is going to be a heat advantage to the Gladiators, not the 5-1 they wanted, but it will just keep them in touch on the night. Scott Nicholls absolutely flying around, and he powers to the line and gets a huge roar. A big 3rd place for Zaine KENNEDY. Keeps the Gladiators in it. Danny King just didn't make the start that time, and he paid for it with his 4th place. Scott Nicholls straight back to the pits. He knows he's got work to do here. It's 37.41. and it is set up to be another good finish.
Yeah, it's going to be another showdown, that's right. If we can do something in Heat 14 now, at least defend, we'll have another last heat decider.
Maybe I will get my super heat that I've been craving for a while. Heat 13 result, a win in blue for Scott Nicholls, 2nd in white Charles Wright, 3rd in red Zaine KENNEDY, and a 4th place in yellow for Danny King, 37.41. Don't be fooled, the Gladiators still have it all to do. However, it was 37.41 last week. A 5-1 in Heat 14 brought it level. This is how they got a heat advantage 4-2 in Heat 13.
Who knows what's going to happen? Here's a question. If we go to a super heat, does the race not count? Can they have ridden 7 rides already and do a super heat?
Well, that's a very good question, because as we see Charles Wright try and put pressure on Scott Nicholls here, Zaine KENNEDY, this is where you thought maybe he could try and force him into a mistake he couldn't do.
No.
I'm not sure on that. I'm really not sure, because we were asking a similar question last week about Ben.
We have to hope so, because half of our team's done 7 rides.
That's the thing, because we were asking it about Ben Barker last week. After he took his 7th ride in Heat 15, would he have been able to come out in a super heat? I'm not sure.
I'll Google it later.
Now, again, we've got all 4 riders have come out to the tapes. Chris Gay is yet to put the 2-minute time allowance on, and the tapes aren't even down yet for Heat 14, so they're eager, they're keen, and this is good to see. The stakes are still high in this meeting. Redcar still haven't sewn up the 2 points on the night. So here is your lineup. Off the inside in white is Louis Kerr. He will be a tough nut to crack. Gate number 2 in blue is Alfie BOWTELL. Gate number 3 in yellow is Ace Pijper. Off the outside in red is Kai Ward. So last week the Gladiators had it all to do up against Zach Cook. We've got Jake Mulford out in yellow, not Ace Pijper. Apologies for that at home. So that makes the Gladiators' task that little bit harder.
Yep.
With Jake Mulford having a sensational night for the Bears, and is proving very much the difference at this point.
Yeah, he is. He's having a great night. He's riding terrifically well. So now we just have to hope that our boys can step it up.
But this time last week, it was Zach Cook and Paul Stark, I think it was. It was a formidable pairing for the Pirates, but the Gladiators were able to do it. Can Kai Ward get out from the gate and then Alfie BOWTELL shepherd him home? Or can Alfie get out of the gate and Kai Ward shepherd him home?
Oh.
Who knows?
Speedway's a mystery. Anything can happen.
Absolutely. As I said, if you were to tell me this time last week that the Gladiators would pull off 2 5-1s to win the meeting, I would never have believed you.
Yep.
On this occasion, I will believe you, because it's happened before.
That's happened before.
Lightning does strike twice.
Alfie needs to make a super gate
He does.
and control the race, and Kai go around the outside of all of them.
He needs to get across Louis Kerr.
Come on, Alfie.
Here we go. The meeting hinges on heat number 14. The tapes rise and Louis Kerr has made it. Now Alfie BOWTELL has gone up the inside of Jake Mulford, who's going to try and go around the outside. He can do so. Alfie BOWTELL is showing the way in second place. Jake Mulford. Now Kai Ward is trying to put Jake Mulford under pressure, who's still trying to get to Alfie BOWTELL.
Oh, Kai Ward's going to go to the inside. Come on, Kai, you can do it. What a race. It's really good. The race is at the back now. It's got to hope that Kai Ward can come through and make a 3-3 out of it. So then we go to a last heat decider. Alfie's going to try and slow the race down, surely. Try and get Kai involved. He's got to slow it up a bit. Mulford's not going to go around him. Let Kai go up into the dirt. Come on, Kai, you can do it. Let's get up the inside of him.
1 lap to go. Alfie BOWTELL can do with having a look here for Kai Ward. He's not doing so at the moment. Louis Kerr's out in front. It's going to be a 4-2 for the Redcar Bears, which is going to bring home the victory for them. Up to the line, Louis Kerr takes the win. Alfie BOWTELL in second, Jake Mulford in third. 4th place for Kai Ward, who gave it everything he could. But it is one meeting too many for the battered and bruised Gladiators. And unfortunately, the tale of recent weeks was injuries at critical times. Yeah. But Louis Kerr makes it 3 wins from 4 on the night. Much more the Louis Kerr we know. He takes the win in white. Second in blue is Alfie BOWTELL. Third in yellow, Jake Mulford. And a cracking effort by Kai Ward back in 4th. It's 39 points to 45. The aggregate bonus point is going to Redcar, as are the 2 points on the night.
I've just got to say that we've got to give Kai Ward a bit of a shout out, because I mean he was fantastic in that race. I just wish he could have got through and got another point. It would have been fantastic. As
you say, you could have done with Alfie pinning Jake Mulford a little bit more.
There was his chance
couldn't
then.
Quite get up the inside at that point. Here he is again though. Jake Mulford's drifting high and wide, but Jake just comes in that little bit, which doesn't allow Kai up the inside.
Yeah, Kai was really going well. Oh, he could have got in there. Look. Yeah, but it's history. We know the result, but he was going really well, and he deserved this place today. He's done really good.
Absolutely. The points return he's got doesn't necessarily reflect his efforts tonight, so Kai Ward can be very, very happy with what he's achieved. Now, we know that it will be Zaine KENNEDY and Scott Nicholls out here in 15. We just don't know off what gate. And here are the gate stats. 4 wins apiece for 1, 2 and 3. 2 wins off gate number 4. The points are less spread than they were earlier. 26 and 23 off 1 and 3. 22 and 13 off gates 2 and 4. So I suspect Scott Nicholls will probably come off gate number 1 here.
Yeah.
Zaine KENNEDY off gate number 3. And then, well, take your pick for the Redcar riders, I suppose. I would like to canvass for Jake Mulford to get another go.
I think he's earned it.
I think he's earned it.
I think he deserves the chance, but I would suspect it won't be him.
No.
Although the victory's done now, and the bonus point, so maybe they will give him a run.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So the thanks goes out to the crowds who've stuck with us, and with 1 race to go, the clock is going to strike 9:30 by the time they get to the tapes.
Means I've got to be really quick with the kids after the meeting. We're planning, I think his planning stops at 9:45, right? So, and I don't know if the viewers know, but every week after the meeting we have the kids out until the planning finishes, give them every opportunity to ride their bikes and get more track time.
Absolutely, which is greatly appreciated as Maximus goes and shows his appreciation to all the fans on the NHS stand. as we get ready to look at the lineup for Heat 15 when it is confirmed to referee Chris Gay. Garry May is still in conversation with Rob Duran. I can see Zaine Kennedy has got the blue helmet colour on his head by the looks of it, so I assume Scott Nicholls will be in red. Rob Duran now goes to the phone to telephone through tonight's Heat 15 lineup, which we will bring to you as soon as we possibly can. Thank you at home for sticking with us. It's been another long night here at the Coliseum. We hope you've enjoyed the product we've brought to you, but you still have one race to enjoy of our company, and that one race will feature, certainly for the Gladiators, Scott Nicholls and Zaine Kennedy. And we will await the Redcar riders. The 2-minute time allowance is on. As the starting tapes are lowered. So let's wait and see who comes out of the Redcar pits area here. We're going to have it announced by Larry, I believe, are we? 1 and 3, there's a surprise. Bosh, there's 1. Yes. That's good. 2 for 2.
Gary should be scared.
Louis Kerr in white. Jake Mulford in yellow. So fair play to Redcar, giving Jake Mulford a well-deserved ride in heat number 15. And Louis Kerr, virtue of his 3 wins from 4 rides, gets a go in heat number 15 for the club he is guesting for tonight. And of course Redcar will get the opportunity to go round on the truck at the end as well, and the crowd, I'm sure, will stay and applaud the visiting team, as they always do when the opposition take the points away from the Coliseum. Very knowledgeable crowd down here at Plymouth. They were last week with all the incidents. Of course, Louis Kerr found himself in the wars in that awful crash in Heat 3 last week, so credit to him for getting back on the bike so soon this week.
They're made of tough stuff.
They are. A lot tougher stuff than I am, I can assure you of that. There's not enough money in the world you could pay me, Barry, to go around the track on one of these bikes.
Oh, strange. We have a facility available if you wish to try.
I'm not...
That will take you for the white knuckle ride you'll never forget.
I'm not riding at 3 next week.
Here you can come to my first skid.
Here comes Jake Mulford out onto the track. There's quite a few of the bar bandits I'd like to put in the first skid, that is for sure. Here's your
I think I could sell tickets to watch you.
Here's Heat 15 off the inside in red, Scott Nicholls. Off gate number 2 in white is Louis Kerr. Gate number 3 in blue is Zaine Kennedy, and off the outside in yellow, Jake Mulford. And the green lights are on straight away, and away they go, no hanging around, and the Gladiators have made the start. Scott Nicholls and Zaine Kennedy, and Scott, just like he did earlier on, is going to allow Zaine Kennedy through, and they will guide each other home, we hope, to a Gladiators maximum.
I knew this was going to happen. We were going to get a 5-1 in this race. I kind of felt it. I wish we'd done it, of course, in 13, but we are where we are, and it's great to see the guys now heading up, chasing the dirt, keeping Louis and Jake Mulford at the back. So hopefully they keep going, and we get a 5-1 out of this, and then we'll just be down by 2 points, which is always a bit of a shame.
1 lap to go then, and the curtain will come down on what's been another memorable night at the Coliseum. The points may be heading to Redcar, but the last laugh is very firmly going to be with Garry May. The Gladiators may well be battered, they may well be bruised, they may well be papered together, but they get the win in Heat 15 with a maximum. The Bar Bandits go to appreciate the riders' efforts. It's not been their night, it's not been their week, but it will end on a high for the Gladiators with a maximum.
And you could just see with the NHS stand, they were all on their feet when they came across the line. They appreciate the effort of this depleted side today. And I mean, surely to lose by 2 points with all of the incident that has happened is a miracle in itself. So they did really well, and they should all be really proud of their efforts today. And we wish those that have got hurt all the best and for a speedy recovery.
Your final result for Heat 15, a win in blue with Zaine Kennedy, a 2nd in red for Scott Nicholls, a 3rd in whites for Louis Kerr, and a 4th in yellow for Jake Mulford. Don't let that take away from what has been an excellent night for Jake Mulford, and that closes proceedings on the night. Let's take a look at that replay. They were sharp in getting that race off, and you can see Scott Nicholls and Zaine Kennedy made beauties of gates, and that was team riding almost at its very best.
Yeah, definitely around bends 1 and 2, that was exceptional stuff. To let Zaine run around the outside. It's just a bolt. Yeah, it's really, really good. Scott is there, mastering the inside, Zaine pushing out wide to stop any movement from the Redcar Bear riders to come around the outside and defend the position.
Absolutely, and you'll see now Scott going high and wide. Zaine Kennedy's out and gone out in front. He was not hanging around. And that is all she wrote for the Gladiators on the evening. And I think what we have to say is the final score reads 44-46 on the night to the Gladiators. Let's take a look at that match result. Gladiators 44, the Redcar Bears 46. So it's a 2-point deficit on the night, with all things considered, 2 points on the night and 20 points overall.
Yeah. Essentially
with about 4 riders throughout. Let's take a quick look at the rider scores before we give the riders praise. 8 points for Zaine Kennedy from 5. 8 from 4 for Tobias THOMSEN. We wish him all the best for his recovery. The same to Declan Kennedy, 1 point from 2 rides. Scott Nicholls with 17, paid 19 from his rides tonight. Alfie BOWTELL with 9 and Kai Ward with 1. That doesn't reflect Kai Ward's efforts on the evening. Charles Wright with 7, paid 8 without a race win tonight, but a solid effort from the Redcar number 1. Jody SCOTT with 4, paid 5. Jason Edwards with 6. Louis Kerr finishes with 10. Danny King with 8. Jake Mulford with 10, paid 12. And Ace Pijper just the 1. So the Redcar Bears take the points. We thank Barry Bishop for his efforts on commentary tonight. He will now go off and supervise some more stars of the future who will get some valid track time. The aggregate score then, Plymouth Gladiators finish on 80, the Redcar Bears on 100. And what more can you say about the effort and determination that's been put in by the Gladiators over the course of the last 48 hours. They've given it absolutely everything. You can join me and the team here at Gladiators TV this time next week, although we will obviously be on a little bit earlier than it is now, where the Berwick Bandits are in town for the final home fixture of the year. And we will be bringing all the action here from the Coliseum next week. So do join us for that. All that's left for me to say is to thank the team here at Gladiators TV. We've been depleted just as much as the team have been, but we've given everything we can to Rob Reynolds on camera, making his debut tonight. He's done a sterling job. I've been Joe Bell, your presenter commentator. Barry Bishop has joined me throughout the night. Andy Hague, who's had everything thrown at him, but has put together a brilliant production tonight. And to all the team here at Plymouth Speedway, they've done a sterling job over the last week to bring you 2 cracking meetings. All that's left for me to say is a massive hats off to every rider who's represented the Gladiators over the last 3 meetings. They've given absolutely everything. It has been exceptionally tricky circumstances. We thank every guest for their efforts. We wish every rider a swift and safe recovery from all of the injuries that have been sustained over the last 3 meetings. We will be back a week today. Berwick are in town for the final Gladiators fixture of the season. Until then, have a great week. See you next week.